mom and dad. Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad.
Welcome home, family. It's your mom and dad.
Hey, good morning to
Welcome
all.
back, the family. Sit
doing?
by us. Let us talk to you.
Let's impart our knowledge.
Let us give you wisdom that we do not have.
Sit
Sit
at our
around the fire.
Yeah, I do like that in every of those gangster movies, the kid is like, and in school, and the gangster dad is like, what's with the grades? Your mom's telling me you're not going to school.
And you're like,
you need to get good
you're
grades,
a
get an
criminal,
education.
Dad.
And then the kids are going like, what? Like, Dad, you're super rich, and you are you like have an army of people that work for you. I want to be like, you don't be like me. Don't be like me. I'm
Dad, you
super
care about
rich.
my grades?
He's like, you got to get
I
an
saw
education.
what you did outside yesterday. What you talking about?
I want to be like you, Dad. Okay, fine. You pulled my arm.
Hi, Lee.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Welcome to the family, Lee.
Happy to be.
Well, here's the deal, the family. Truth of the matter is, we are not starting off on a great foot this morning because last night, Evan cheated on me in my dream. So we're in an argument.
Classic. This is classic. You know what I mean?
I feel like there needs to be some sort of like couple understanding that when one of the partners has a dream about the other cheating, there is like a 48-hour allowance for anger, unjustified anger.
Got it.
You know what I
Okay, so then
mean?
the person who didn't do anything actually has to pay a price.
Yeah.
So instead of saying, hey, the person who had the dream needs to realize it's not real and take a deep breath, the other person that woke up just nice, beautiful, sunny day has to now pay a price for 2 days straight.
There has to be a price paid for the
You did
dream.
me wrong.
No, for real though, I do feel like, there needs to be an allowance.
Well, it's so visceral.
Because though you did not, actually do anything. And I will be honest, technically the cheating dream, it was a loose cheating. Like
Okay.
it was like a suspected cheating. It was more like I wasn't getting adequate attention and more attention was being paid elsewhere. And I was assuming that there was cheating going on.
So it was in your dream, you were like, I knew it.
Yeah, it was implied in my dream. And I was
Was I
trying
just-
to like find out exactly what was going on.
Was I just flirting and running around and
Yeah.
not paying attention to you?
There were
and-
so many women. There were so many ladies, and there was just so much flirting going on.
You
and
can
I
let me
was-
flirt, let me flirt in my dream.
Well, and here's the thing, IRL, I'm like, you flirt away, but it was in the specific, like
Yeah.
you were very annoyed with me throughout the whole dream. Like everything I was doing was bothering you. And then it was like very specific, like,
So if I
he's cheating. Like
Yeah.
I knew it, like you had all of a sudden you'd bought a Harley, you'd covered yourself in tattoos. Like it was
So I
very
was
much.
like, I was a total cliche of like a boomer who's like
Midlife
had enough with his
crisis.
family.
Like the midlife crisis.
Yeah,
boomer.
I'm getting a Harley. I don't understand the Harley thing.
no,
Maybe you just want to taste a danger. Is that what it is?
Maybe, but I'm like, why a Harley?
Yeah, I don't understand the motorcycle move. But I mean, I guess it just makes, I want to taste the open road.
I don't know. Maybe the loud engine is some kind of cry for help. Or
Yeah,
attention.
wow.
Hey,
Lee. That
look at
might be
me.
what it is.
Wow, that was very deep.
That was deep. Because sometimes it's a boat. I mean, all of these things quite expensive. You're gonna get a Harley, a boat, some sort of muscle car, a Porsche.
The
Like
boat's the move though, because you can cheat on a boat. Right? You can't cheat on a Harley. That's hard. It's harder.
The more you know.
You know what I
Take this
mean?
as an advice podcast.
If you want to cheat, buy a boat, because I mean, you can bring people onto the boat, and then you
That's
have.
true.
I'm gonna spend the night at the boat tonight, babe. Whatever.
It's true. If you are gonna cheat, that makes way more sense.
Makes way more
You
sense.
also can sea law. Who knows what applies? Does cheating apply with C-Law.
I think you can claim C-Law.
You can claim C-Law
To
in the
yours.
divorce.
Yeah, no.
You're like, the cheating doesn't count when you guys are going through because
We were in
at
open sea.
There's no rules.
I'd
in the
love
open
to
sea.
see the book, the charter, like who governs the seas? Like what's the U.S. law?
That's Neptune, baby.
Neptune. I do like the idea of just any thing you do in open water so that you can claim sea law. I claim sea law. And they're like, what? that reminds me of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Honey, it doesn't count. It was at the sea. I claim sea law.
I claim sea law. Everything that happens in the sea doesn't exist. Actually, it's like in Always Sunny in Philadelphia when Charlie always like says bird law. And he's always like, he's always like, well, in bird law. And the guy's like, bird law? We're in a court and like.
I'm just going to start I'm going to put law behind everything
Yeah.
just to kind of make my way through
Make
the
it
world.
sound legit. Okay, so I have a
Yeah.
question about the cheating dream, though.
Can I put you on a pause real quick? And then you
Absolutely.
can dive in because we do have to take a pause, an
yes.
important pause. Family, if you are like me, you often find yourself trying to find a cause for any of those like tough body symptoms that you may have. And this may be including stumbling down a TikTok rabbit hole full of questionable advice from so-called experts. Listen, I love my TikTok, but there are better ways to get the important answers you need and the care you deserve from trusted professionals and not random people on the internet. ZocDoc helps you find expert doctors and medical professionals that specialize in the care you need and deliver the type of experience you want.
Yes, millions of people use ZocDoc's free app to find and book a doctor in their neighborhood who is patient, reviewed, and fits their needs and schedule just right. You can book an appointment with a few taps in their app and start feeling better faster with ZocDoc. Choose from thousands of patient-reviewed doctors and specialists. Browse doctor profiles, upload and verify your insurance information, and get the care you need.
I love ZocDoc. I use it all the time. Go to ZocDoc.com/momdad and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours. That's ZocDoc.com/momdad. ZocDoc.com/momdad. I'm going to need to book a ZocDoc appointment after the headache I feel post that dream.
Oh my gosh. Like, do you guys do anything for cheating?
Cheating dreams.
The guy's like, what? The guy just, Okay, so I want to talk about this.
Yeah.
Which is, if you're in a dream, you personally, you don't know you're in a dream. You cheat. You do the act in the dream, and then you wake up and you're living your normal life, and you don't cheat in real life, but you cheat in your dreams. What level of cheating is that?
I mean, what? No level.
No, I'm saying, like, if you're in your dream and you're kind of aware of your life, wife, kid, life, and I meet a woman in my dream and I hook up with her, and then I wake up and it's not real, but in the dream I thought it was real. What level of cheating is that?
Oh, you mean if you were actively choosing to cheat?
Yes.
Are you talking about like
Right.
if you were a lucid dreamer?
Right, like
because like
lucid
I
dreaming.
can't control my dreams.
Okay, well,
Like I don't feel like I have the ability to lucid dream. Our daughter is a wild lucid dreamer. She goes to bed. Before she goes to bed at night, she will say, I will dream about this.
Yeah.
And most of the time she's able to do it.
and it sounds like an evil seance. I'm going to record her and bring it next week, because she does it every night, and it just sounds like this. And it's her, like, if you zoom into what she's saying, it's like, don't have dreams about this.
No,
Don't have dreams about
she
this. Don't have dreams about
manifests.
this.
She manifests if she doesn't want to have scary dreams. So she literally has an ongoing list. She adds things to it constantly that might scare her, and she has a full list of things she doesn't want to dream about. And when she started doing that, she's like, I never dream about those things. And if I add a new thing to the list, I won't dream about it. And so she does this full every night before she goes to bed.
Wow.
It's wild manifestation powers.
It's
God, what a gift
amazing.
she has. I've tried it. Doesn't work
Doesn't
for me.
work.
It doesn't
No,
work
no,
for
no.
me. I don't have the powerful brain that she has. Okay, wait.
Okay,
So
so I'm not saying I don't know what lucid dreaming is really, but I'm more talking about, like, sometimes in your dream you can make decisions.
Yeah.
Not everything is completely out of your, there's a moment you can't choose, like, your scenario, but sometimes you just are in a dream, you're in a scenario, and you are making decisions, and you know what I mean? Like, to some extent. So I'm saying, if you kind of are in somewhat a version of your current life, and then you intentionally cheat,
yeah.
and then you wake up and not, real life is real life, but you are cheating in your dreams. What level of cheating is that?
That's a zero
That's kind of
cheating.
interesting to me. You know what I mean? Because you're aware that what you're doing, you cheat intentionally,
Yeah.
and you don't know it's a dream.
I would say this.
So it's kind of like an interesting thing. So for all you dream cheaters, I just outed you. Babe, I couldn't do anything. Honestly, it's a dream. I had no control. Meanwhile, like full control. That's what because there's moments in my dreams where I am intentionally making decisions.
I don't feel like I have that so much. I feel like it's happening.
Here.
Yeah, because I was gonna say because then I've
She's
cheated.
I've had sex with 6,000 people.
I have. I frequently, not frequently, but
what? This is bad.
Oh my God, this is no. I'm like I definitely like will have dreams where I like hook up with somebody in my dream. Oftentimes they're kind of a faceless individual.
Right, they're just a body.
But there was one time, I think I've talked about it on Chatty Broads, where I had a dream where I like fell in love in my dream.
Sure.
And it was with Nick Kroll.
Nick Kroll.
Yeah.
The producer, the actor.
Yes, the comedian, the actor,
wow.
like, you know, and so
he is charming.
He's very charming, but in my dream, like I've never been attracted to him when I watch shows. I'm like, I have never felt like, oh my gosh, like what a hottie, even though he's a handsome man, but just, you know, I never really thought about it. In my dream, I met him and we were like falling in love.
So you weren't married to me at the time?
No, I wasn't.
I
wasn't with anyone. I don't think.
Okay,
but it was all quite fuzzy in my
so
dream.
It's like you were watching a movie of you and starring Nick Kroll.
And then when I woke up, it fucked me up because I was like, I fell.
You miss him.
I was like, I fell in love with someone,
and that's how stalkers are born.
But it was real in my dream.
Yeah, I know you felt it.
No, I remember seeing him like 6 months later at a show at the Largo, a comedy show. And when I saw him, my heart like hurt. Like I was like, oh my God, we had a beautiful relationship together because in my dream we were in love.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I do think that's real love to some extent because it is what's love anyways.
That is kind of true. That is trippy to think
like
about.
You have a fixation on something or someone and it brings out an extreme emotion in you and then you like pursue it. That's love, right?
But I'm in love with the dream Nick Kroll because I don't know the real Nick Kroll. But whatever dream version I've created in some other universe, in some sleep universe, we love each other.
Okay, I understand. But I want to get the family's actual opinion on this because I'm sure there are people like me who can make decisions in their dreams. And
I didn't know you were able to do that.
Not all the time. It's just there's certain times when it's like
maybe that's where Ember gets it.
It'll be like this. It'll be like, let's say I'm having a great dream and the dream is that I'm in this on this incredible vacation and I'm surfing and like, you know, those dreams where you get everything you want immediately.
Yeah, sure.
Right. But I'm intentionally making the decision to like catch that wave or eat that food. Like there's moments when like or say that thing, you know? So I'm just curious that like, if you can intentionally cheat, but then you wake up and it didn't in real life, like, I guess the argument has to be made. How real is our dreams? You know what I mean? Like if we're just these sentient beings.
It's interesting if you can make decisions in your dream,
right?
And you are in your dream, you know, you have like a partner that you're committed to. You're in a monogamous relationship, you know, whatever, and you are like, I'm going to choose actively, but then.
And then you wake up and you never do it.
But
in real life.
then that's the thing. Dreams, it's sea law. You can do anything you want in your dreams. It doesn't count,
but if
right?
you don't know it's a dream, that's the deciding factor. Because you never know it's a dream. Rarely, right? You're just in it, and then you wake up and you're like, "Whoa, that was crazy." But if you don't know and you intentionally hook up with that person, and then you wake up and you're like, "Whoa, that was intense."
I would say
this is interesting.
I would say, okay, when we first started this conversation, I was a little bit like, what are you talking about? But now I'm a little bit like, I don't know.
Right?
I think it might be something that I don't think it's any level of cheating by any means.
Y'all are cheaters out there.
But I would say
scumbags.
But I would say that if I was with someone, like let's just say you started doing this frequently.
Well, I mean, I have many partners.
Sure.
Yeah.
But if you started doing this frequently and I found out about it, if I was like, okay, Evan's telling me that like every night he's actively choosing to have this dream where he doesn't know it's a dream and cheats on me.
Yes.
I would feel red flaggish because I'd be like, is this almost a practice round where it becomes, it feels more and more like a temptation and be like, okay, maybe, even though I would be like, oh, if you're telling me, I feel like you're communicating with me. So if you wanted to be out and about, you might want to communicate with me, like, different format of a relationship since you are telling me.
Sure.
But I guess if I were to find out, if I were to break into your dream journal, if you were to keep a dream journal and then I found this out, then I'd be like, this feels a little bit like if this is constantly happening by your own choosing in your dream, I might feel a little bit
Well, it's interesting.
sus, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because it could go two ways. One is that you're kind of breaking the seal to start that, so you can do it in real life. Or you're getting your rocks off in your dream so you don't have to do it in real life.
True.
Right. Yeah. It's like if you are conscious you're in a dream and you're like, well, I know I'm dreaming, so it's not real. And I would never do this in reality.
Yeah.
But why not try it now? Is that sus? I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, is it sus to be like, even if you know you're in a, what if you know you're in a dream?
Well, then it's,
and then you intentionally hook up with people.
Right.
but then it's all that's all good, right? It's your dream. This is where you're able to,
Live your fan. It's like a video game.
Yeah, but then I guess when do video games become too real?
I feel like that day will be coming soon.
Yeah, if it hasn't
Maybe
already.
when you write it in your dream journal, it becomes too real. You've brought it into this
this dimension.
You've crossed planes.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, here's the thing though. We once had a dream expert on Chatty Broad, so I would love to hear from someone who's actually like an expert in this, because I remember her saying that people who analyze dreams will understand that typically sex, it's not sexual.
Interesting.
It's a connection thing. So maybe if I opened your dream journal and you were like, I'm choosing to be with someone different every night, I'd feel maybe more like, oh, are we not emotionally connecting in a certain way? Or is there something, maybe you have missed a connection in a different relationship in your life, whatever, where you're like, it's not sexual. It's about connection.
Interesting.
I believe that's what she had said. So it typically goes beyond that.
Well, that's my pee situation, because I felt like I almost peed the bed again the other night.
Yeah,
by the
he
way.
almost peed the.
Oh.
Yep.
So in my dream, I had another thing where I was just peeing everywhere.
I can't relate to any of these scenarios you're doing. When you're like, I can choose what I want to do in my dreams, and I choose to pee everywhere. I don't understand either of those, because I don't get to choose what I do in my dreams, and I've never had where I'm like, I'm just pissing all over.
Well, it wasn't. It was just one of those things where it was like a foggy dream, but I'm just urinating constantly in the dream.
Oh my god!
And I was peeing so much in my dream that like I almost had like an go off, be like, evacuate, because you actually have to pee. And then I kind of like came out of it in the middle of the night, and I had to pee really bad.
Yeah.
So my bladder is very much connected.
Yeah.
There's a connection there that's very interesting, because, and then it scared me. I was like, uh-oh. But I had drank a lot of water, because I started, guys, I'm starting water.
He is starting water. Wow. This is actually a huge shift for you.
I'm starting water.
You're going against your beliefs.
Well, I'm just getting older.
Learning and growing.
And I'm starting to just go, you know what? It can't hurt me. So let me try water. And it's making me want to pee more. And I don't want to pee the bed. You know what I mean? So I'm real scared. Okay? And I'm wearing a diaper to bed.
Just drink water during the day, honey.
Yeah, but totally. But it's like a way to finish off the day strong, that we chug it.
I get that. No, I will say this. I did wake up from my cheating dream. I was woken up from my cheating dream by wild snoring via Evan, because Evan has not tried the hostage mouth tape, because we got there were some messages from people that were like, oh, we do the mouth tape, it works.
I got it right down the middle.
It works. But I was receiving so many messages from people being like, you need to check into like sleep apnea and all that. So I have signed both of us up to get sleep tests done to make sure that we are healthy and safe. So we're not using mouth tape on you. We're going to get some professional opinions up in here to make sure you're safe and that you stay with me for a long time.
I did not know that she did this. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Sleep test. That'll be good. Because I had a lot of people telling me in the beginning, people messaging me being like, do not use the sleep tape. And then I had like, towards those later end of the week, I had equal amount of people going, it changed my life.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean,
you know what? And maybe it's different people, different things work for different people, obviously, but I would like to get a professional's opinion before I duct tape your mouth shut.
My whole head, cut eyes and a nose. It's a good post in general, you know what I mean?
Oh my god. But no, I want to make sure that you're healthy and happy. And now, that's the thing. It's like in the current day and age, apparently there's these sleep doctors that you can go to, and you can learn all these new things and make sure that it's specifically good for you and your health.
Yeah, but I prefer to bootstrap it and guess. You know what I mean? See if we make it out.
We're living in 2023. We have
Forget
our sleep
about
doctors.
it.
Maybe the sleep doctors can also do dream analysis on you. Maybe they can give you some of these answers.
Sleep doctor wizard.
The future. Oh my God. Speaking of the future, can we talk about something quickly?
Yes.
Okay, Evan and I were having a conversation the other day because was it a comedian that we heard talking about it?
It was like a joke.
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember who it was. I apologize. But we heard a comedian talking about the idea of, this whole concept of like, if you could go back into like the early 1900s or something with the
Say 1920.
1920 with the knowledge that you have of the world today.
Like you literally just hop. Like right now we have a time machine. Hop in it. 1920.
Yes.
You show up.
And so you know everything about the world now. Like you know about all with the computers and the
That sounded old. With the Googles and and the cameras and stuff.
and the transportation and the reality
Sure,
TV and all of that stuff.
Right.
That you're able to like go back to 1920 and like they were talking about the idea of like what would you do?
Or like how could you know what I mean? Like, oh, with your wealth of knowledge now, you could be a tycoon or you could be like you could just blow people's minds or whatever.
Yeah, and Evan and I were talking and this comedian was saying too, and we were in agreement. We're like, we would offer nothing. Like I have nothing.
Me too.
Like I could go back to 1920 and tell people and be like, well, guess what happens? And there's all this wild stuff. I'm like, I guess you could predict the future for people.
Yes.
But as far as like being helpful to society, it'd be like, with a computer, how am I supposed to explain? I would know nothing. Engineering, I'd know nothing.
Right. It's like when you actually think about it, if you're not an engineer or like an electrician or a plumber or a builder or a scientist or a like technologist, not like someone on the internet, but like someone who could build a camera or something like that, right? If you're not those things, which most people aren't, like, or not most people, but a lot of people are not those things, especially in the age of the internet where we're all just kind of existing on the internet. It's like you could show up in 1920, and if you think about it, you couldn't even prove that you're from the future,
Right.
because you're sitting there and like, I'll be honest with you, my like knowledge of history is so bad too that like, even if they were like, okay, well, prove it from the future, who's the next president? Be like, I don't know. Like, what happens in the next 5 years? It's like,
don't remember.
oof. Like, there's nothing you could do to even prove you're from the future, let alone help them at all. If anything, you're going to be worse off because you won't even know how to do the stuff they know how to do.
Oh yeah.
So if they're like operating, wood burning stuff, and they have like plumbing systems
I'd be
that
like,
works.
let
like,
me tell
I've
you.
never even seen this.
Let me tell you about these specific electrical. I mean, I don't even know what I would call them. And trying to explain different forms of like ovens and microwaves. It'd be like, well, there's this thing.
Yeah.
And it would be zero benefit because I can barely even speak right now to explain what this predicament would be.
It was just such a weird thing to think like, oh, in your brain now you're like, dude, if I could just go back in time, like it'd be amazing because I'd have all this knowledge. And you realize your knowledge is completely built off of stuff that's modern and that like there's nothing. So like we were talking about like what could you do to take your knowledge and ideas of now, bring them back to then and do anything of note? Like, is there anything you could think of, Lee, that you could like bring to the
it's so
table?
hard. I mean, maybe like the only thing I can think of is investment opportunities, like knowing what to invest in.
Okay, it's
But as
1920.
far
What are you
as
going to invest in?
Rebuilding anything or building anything just by like, one person, I don't think I could do anything.
But it's like 1920. What are you going to invest in?
Oh, I have no
Ford?
idea.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, Ford. Like,
Ford's already out. You probably can't even invest in it anyways.
I would
It's
just
not like there's
find oil.
Yeah, just find it. How are you going to find oil? Do you have like a rig? Do you even know how to find oil?
No, I would be so I'm useless now.
I would have.
still be useless.
That's how
That's how I
I feel now. I'm like, I'm an artist. I don't know how to do anything here. What am I supposed to do in 1920?
And the only thing we could think of was like write songs. Previous,
Oh,
like write
right,
famous
right.
songs that are famous now, then, and hopefully
Yeah,
they take
I told
off.
Evan, I was
Yeah.
like, I have a genius idea. Like 1920, I'd be like, I'd start writing Christmas carols. I'd be like, I got a song, chestnuts roasting on an open, and they'd be like, wow, she's just a Christmas carol queen.
Yeah.
But then Evan told me that's already a movie. So it
is?
wasn't a genius idea.
Oh.
Was it Back to the Future? They do something like that.
No, you told me there was like a movie where some guy writes the Beatles. Like,
Oh, there's a movie. I forgot what it's called, but there's a somewhat modern movie that came out where the guy went back in time and wrote all the Beatles songs before the Beatles. And like, I never saw it, so I don't ever know what happened. But then even with the song, you're
so apparently it
assuming,
wasn't even an original idea. That's how.
and then you're assuming that the right people are going to hear it and then want to like put money behind it,
Right.
promote it, and put it on the radio, which is not going to happen because you're going to be in some random city. You'd have to create some sort of shtick.
Yeah.
Like, because think about it. Let's say you just like land in that time and everyone has like these jobs and you're like, I can't do any of these jobs because my jobs are completely reliant on technology and all these things. So it's like even a banker, it's like they're doing everything by hand. An engineer, everything's by hand.
Yeah.
Like there's no, oh, you don't know anything? There's no Google. You got to hope someone tells you or find a library and do tons of, like you're lost.
I would just become the midtown complainer. You know how people who are in older generations now are like kids these days, they da. I'd be in reverse. I'd be like, back when I was young, we had what was called an iPhone and a computer.
And everyone's like, this person's insane.
I'd just be complaining in reverse.
Yeah,
it'd be like a future life regression.
Yeah.
Like you'd
Yes.
be born in the 20s and have these flashbacks of the future.
Yes. Oh wow. What a concept though.
The way to truly, you'd have to, if you want to make a change, or if you want to be like that person, you'd have to just be transported back to like the 80s. That's the only way to do it. Or like the early 90s when
Yeah.
things are popping off and there's ways to actually like deal with things. But like you can't, before like all the technology, you can't go back that
No.
far.
Okay, speaking of the 90s, can you tell what Ember said to you the other day before we dive into some Bachelor stuff?
Oh my
I
gosh.
need to,
Okay.
please.
You guys.
Lee, I laughed so hard.
So so Ember, I pick Ember up from school and she's having drama at school with one of her friends. And she was dealing with just her emotions and dealing with all, how to handle, conflict basically on the playground, whatever one first grade real conflict looks like. She's struggling with it. So she tells me the scenario. I'm in the car with her and I give her like my breakdown. And she's not buying it. Like she's just clearly not in here for my advice. And so I tell her and I go, Ember, I was in first grade too. I know what it's like. I know it can be so hard and there can be so many emotions. And what you need to do is this, this, and this. And then she looks at me and she just goes, yeah. But Dad, that's not going to work. And I go, why? And she goes, because that was in the 90s.
She's like, you stupid idiot.
In the 90s, dude. And so what blew, I literally almost like crashed the car because I was just laughing so hard. What is so insane about that comment is that she's right.
Yeah.
And it is very different.
And she doesn't know what the 90s are. Like she's just heard the word 90s.
Yeah.
And
First of all, she nailed your year. You were in the 90s.
I was in first grade in the 90s. So she absolutely got me. She was just like,
and she's also right too. It is a very different world, Dad. That was in the 90s.
And
It's
it's
different now on the
super-
playground.
I mean, there was nothing I could say.
No, she fully
She-
owned you.
Got me so good. It's like, first of all, things are different now. First of all, I was in the 90s. And I mean, it was just the most like incredible moment of like, oh no, this is what her next 10 years are going to be like. It's like telling me that my experiences aren't valid because of how old I am.
We're out of touch.
Dude, it was insane. Like imagine a 7-year-old telling you, Dad, that advice doesn't work
That was
anymore
in the
because that was the
90s.
90s. She could have said 80s. She could have said 50s. I mean, she doesn't even know what these words mean. She's not aware that 1990 to 2000 was the 90s. She's just like, that was the 90s and nailed it. Oh my, I lost my mind. And then I started laughing brutally hard, like tears. And then she was getting frustrated at me because she thought like, she's like, why are you laughing about like my struggles? And I'm
Yeah,
like, no,
no,
I'm
and
not
you're like, no,
laughing.
it's not about that.
Insane, dude. Insane. We are not cut out for this level of like,
No, her manifestation powers and wisdom, we are not prepared.
We're
We are
not
not
built for
ready.
this.
Lord help us.
Lord help us.
All right. I think it is officially time for
Batch
us
time.
to dive into the latest episode of Zach's Bachelor season, episode 2, recapping. Also, I think there's in and out, we can weave some Bachelor tea that's gone down. And then But of course, our call home segment.
Of course, never would miss it.
When the family sends in voicemails and we get to give some advice out, whether it be good or not. The advice is coming.
It's hot.
So let's dive into some Zachary versus Verzaki.
BBE.
Public urination.
Public urination on tour this fall.
But first, let's take a quick pause. So I want to share with you all something that a few years ago now became one of my new sexy love languages, okay? And that's DIPSEA. DIPSEA has invented a whole new love language with sexy stories for whatever mood you're in. And let me tell you something, okay? I have people ask me all the time after hearing us talk about DIPSEA, is it cheesy? Is it corny? No. Let me make this very clear. It is the opposite. It is quite hot, like hot. I'm sweating just thinking about it right now.
Like a
DIPSEA,
dream.
like a dream, baby.
I'm going to write one of these.
You don't need dreams. You have DIPSEA.
That's true.
There you go.
No to the cheesy, and yes, absolutely to the hot. DIPSEA is an app full of hundreds of short, sexy audio stories. They bring scenarios to life with immersive soundscapes and realistic characters. They have everything from second chance romances to adventurous vacation flings to hot and heavy hookups, and their stories are extremely inclusive.
And I do like that second chance romance, okay? It hits home. You gave me a second chance, you know? Okay, so new content is released every week. So in between listening to your favorite stories again and again, you can always find something new to explore. Let DIPSEA be your go-to place to spice up your me time, explore your fantasies, relax and unwind, or heat things up with a partner.
Rare. For listeners of the show, DIPSEA is offering an extended 30-day free trial when you go to dipseastories.com/chatty. That's 30 days of full access for free when you go to DIPSEA stories.com/chatty. dipseastories.com/chatty.
So time goes by fast, okay? I mean, for the love of everything, it is already February, okay? So don't ever waste your time, and especially don't ever waste your time again at the post office by using Stamps.com. Stamps.com is everything. Stamps.com lets you print your own postage and shipping labels right from your home or office. It's ready to go in minutes.
Oh yeah, Stamps.com seriously makes it the easiest. We've been using it for personal and business for years. And this just in, postage rates just increased again. But luckily, Stamps.com has the best discounts in the industry with rates you literally can't find anywhere else, like up to 84% off of USPS and UPS. Plus, Stamps.com automatically tells you your cheapest and fastest shipping options. Oh, and by the way, if you need a package picked up, you can easily schedule it through your Stamps.com dashboard.
Oh, and PS for business owners, if you sell products online, Stamps.com seamlessly connects with every major marketplace and shopping cart. Smooth sailing, or smooth shipping, more like it, you know? Set your business up for success when you get started with Stamps.com today. Sign up at Stamps.com/momdad for a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a free digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com/momdad. Okay, let's get into our Bachelor Recapness, Zach. Okay, you know what? I gotta say it. I liked Zach this episode.
He's just a good person. I mean, he seems like a good guy.
I have to take this moment and appreciate him. Like, I feel like, you know, everyone, including myself, it was just like, why is Zach the Bachelor? You know, because a lot of us were asking for other individuals, as often we do in Bachelor Nation. But I have to say, I said this last week, but I do get the energy from Zach that he really is here to find his person. I feel like you can tell by the way that he's eliminating certain people, conversations he's having. He's very straightforward and honest. Now, do I think he's still a little awkward in front of the camera and we're getting like a pretty shy version of Zach? For sure. I'm hoping he continues to open up. It's not like dynamic and wow, this is, you know, the most sparkly thing I've ever watched on TV, but he seems like a good guy. What are you smirking?
I just thought about. I went a little ahead. In my thought when he was dancing, you know, and the awkward like dance like he was doing. It reminded me of, do you guys ever see the video of like one of Apple's first like conferences, and like all the CEOs are on stage dancing, and it's just the worst thing you've ever seen. They're all just like, the new iPhone's out, and they're all clapping and going like, yeah. And like, it's doing the dad like boomer dance where they're just like,
hips fully locked, like gnome.
And they're just going like, yeah. And they go, yeah. And like, he just hit me as the guy who's just kind of like, yes. And what do I do with these things?
Oh, when they got to the dancing portion where Lotto was like, hey, everybody like show off your best dance moves. I'm like, oh, I would have been royally fucked. Like, I am not a good dancer. Like, I am stiff. I love dancing.
Yeah.
Take me to a wedding and I will cut up Evan and I cut up the dance floor at a wedding together. But the difference is Evan has some moves. You've got loose hips. You're a good dancer. I am not.
Where I belong.
Okay.
And that's tight in my vibe.
Yeah.
But like, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to do anything like crazy, but there is nothing better than just the guy. Like my dad dance. When I watch my dad dance, like at a wedding, my whole body just like
screams.
Terrified. Because it's just so, he goes like, ooh. He makes his face, he goes, ooh. And he kind of just does this thing where he punches and he goes, ooh, 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 ooh. And it's just, God damn, it's rough to watch. Kind of bites his lip. Like, ooh,
So this is good.
It's so brutal.
Yeah, Zach did not have the moves, but you know what? I did see that Mike Fleiss, who is the head honcho over at The Bachelor and Bachelorette, tweeted that he's the best dancer of all the Bachelors. I'm assuming this is a facetious comment, but also Mike Fleiss has been going absolutely rogue on Twitter, which the man does. Someone needs to take the Twitter away from him. It's always completely out of control. But he tweeted last week that there was going to be a huge, major Bachelor announcement happening on Monday, like a few days ago Monday. Nothing. And he does this shit all the time where he's just like, all right, everybody, life-changing announcement is going to happen tomorrow. And either it never happens and everyone's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Or it's just the most basic announcement ever.
Yeah.
And so he said there's a huge announcement coming. So Lord knows if that's true or not, because we haven't heard anything. Or if we did, it wasn't anything that was big enough to make us be like, and
he's probably like a wannabe Andy Cohen or like a wannabe like Ryan Seacrest, where it's like another show creator that's like, I want to have a personality too, and I kind of want to be famous as well.
Yeah, like no one knows what he actually looks like. He's never around, but he'll just go wild on Twitter. But then he said on Monday that he has something like major to announce, that he's considering going on a podcast or starting a podcast, and everyone's like, stop it,
Major
Mike.
news is not what you're up to, bud.
Mike, stop it.
No
For
one
the
cares.
love of God, please don't create a podcast. Okay?
Please don't.
Can you just tweet out what the news is? Can you just tell us? None of this lead up.
We don't need any more rich people making podcasts. We're all set on that.
Enough is enough. Please make it stop. Anyway, so the women are officially in for the mansion experience. If you were to go to the mansion, let's just say it's the Bachelorette.
Yeah.
Do you run in and attempt to get your bunk immediately? Like, do you run into the mansion and explore, or do you try to claim your bed ASAP?
Well, if I'm there to get edits,
Okay.
I would run in, rip my shirt off, and jump in the pool.
That's a good move.
Or jump in with all my clothes on. And just, you know what I mean? Something to kind of just be like,
You have to jump in with all your clothes on. It's just very much the whole like, Mama, I made it.
Yeah.
You just like run through and you're like, look at this pool. Just jump in fully clothed.
or I do the move where you run, but you don't stop running, and then you just end up in the pool. You know what I mean? Where you're just running, and then the feet are still running, and then you just end up in the pool like you didn't see it there. I do some move like that, or go full naked, or you know what I mean? Do something to like get an edit.
Make a splash.
Make us. Wow.
Oh, the pun.
Wow, we got a writer here, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I would do.
Okay. So you would go, you wouldn't claim the bed.
I kind of have a thing with the bed people. Kind of got beef with bed people.
Bed person.
Yeah, here's my thing with the bed is it's the person that runs in and grabs their bed, red flag to me. because you're not like
He's
communal.
calling me out right now.
You're not communal in your mindset. You know what I mean? You're not like, okay, let's
Evan,
talk
I was
beds.
joking about the cheating dream earlier. Please, it was a joke.
But anyone who runs in and claims the best bed, it's a little bit like, it's a personality trait to me. You
I
know what
understand
mean?
it. It's very much Real Housewife energy.
It's just
Whenever
like mine.
Whenever you watch a Real Housewife vacation episode, there's like the one or two personalities that like, I need the best bed. Okay, can I say this to defend myself?
Yes.
I will never run in and choose the best bed.
You got to choose like second or third best.
I won't even, it's not even necessarily that I choose second or third best. I run in and I need to choose a situation where I feel a little secluded. So I'll take a bunk, but I just want a corner bottom. Like I need something where I feel kind of like I have my introvert space so I don't have a full panic attack. So I'm like, I'm not going to ever run in. In fact, likely if I'd be on a Real Housewives trip, I would go in and choose the smallest bedroom that's like in the back.
Right.
With no windows because I want a cave.
That's good. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the people that run in and throw their bag on the main room. And then you're like, okay, I guess that's yours. The key is to like, if there's 5 rooms and 5 people, you grab like the third best.
I'm going in and I'm choosing my bed immediately for the sake of the entire group because you don't want a grumpy version of me.
Right.
You want a pleasant, lovely version of me. And you're going to get a grumpy, weird version of me if I don't have my alone space for just a little bit during the day.
And that sounds like a person justifying taking the big bed. They're like, listen, I need my rest. And if I don't get my rest, I'm a nightmare. You guys get it. Everyone's like, okay, enemy number 1.
Well, we don't see the women choose their bunks because we never really see the inside.
You think they choose, or you think it's a sign? You think their names are on cards?
You know what? I actually don't know. That's a good question. I would need to ask.
I would
Becca
imagine
about
they
it.
don't. I would imagine that the producers are too smart and they know, like, this person needs their rest. Let's stick them in the worst bunk. Boom, boom.
Probably.
Like they know how to like get people
Probably.
riled up.
I would need to ask Becca, but we never see much of the inside of the mansion because apparently it's terrible. It's not fancy. It's just like they shove like tons of people in one room. It's stressful. There's like not many bathrooms.
Can you
It's
Airbnb
just-
it when it's not in session?
Yes, you can.
Okay, I was gonna say.
We could, but it's quite expensive. I'm like, if you don't want to live for a few months, then we can rent it out and do some vlogging inside.
You know what we could do? Get every Bachelor podcast to go in on it, and then everyone can podcast from the mansion.
Wow.
Oh my God, Evan.
It's pretty good.
This is a plea to all of our Bachelor podcasting and YouTube family. We need Game of Roses. We need Dave Neal. We need Descartes. We need Love to See It. We need, oh my God, there's so many. 2 Black Girls, 1
And
Rose.
you just say, hey, this is a GoFundMe. We all put money in the pot. We rent the place out, and then we could use it for content. It's not a bad idea.
It's very good. All right, call to action, everyone.
Wow.
Call to action. Okay, so they're in the mansion. Jesse Palmer shows up, which, by the way, everyone was talking about this, and it was quite funny. They like fully gave him, you know how when one of the women is speaking, it'll say like Katie with her age and job underneath it,
Yeah.
so that we're able to keep up because we're getting to know Katie. When JP walked into the mansion, they did that for him. It said Jesse Palmer, host 44.
Yeah, it's because he's never on the show.
Letting us know.
He has 10 seconds per. I mean, he was literally in this episode for a total of probably 45 seconds to a minute.
45 seconds to a minute.
He literally goes, hey, everybody. And then he comes at the end and goes, all right, guys, about that time. And then it's over.
It really is such a shame.
Like, what is he doing? I mean, no offense, but like, what is the point at this point of a host?
It's such a shame. I was listening to Caitlin Bristow on the Not Skinny But Not Fat podcast. Amazing episode, by the way. Everyone should listen. There's some tea in there. They have really great conversation. And she was talking about when she was hosting with Tayshia. And I was like, oh my God, I miss it so much because with Caitlin and Tayshia, there were so many scenes where they were actually like having really in-depth, important conversation with the different players and the lead.
Remember the beginning? They were really funny. They were looking through the window.
I
What's he
know.
doing?
It was so
there was
fun.
Much more action.
It was so
going on.
charming. They're both so fun. Caitlin's hilarious. Like it was so good.
Yeah.
Now we see 2 seconds of the host to the point where they have to remind us that this is the host.
They're like, host.
Well, host presents first date card, which is a group date with Brianna, Brooklyn, Catherine, Mercedes, Bailey, Davia, Kat, Genevieve, and Kylie. And this group date, we have a real celeb, actually. It is so
Yeah,
often when they're
true.
like, it's a celeb, and you're like, who is that person? Lotto shows up, and we are talking about getting bad bitch energy from the ladies. And they kind of have a setup as kind of a
Catwalk.
RuPaul-esque catwalk.
Yeah.
And as soon as Lotto says bad bitch energy, Zach comes strutting down the runway
And he does his dad and he's like,
in his black leather jacket.
God, the leather jacket is such a move, isn't it? It's like, hey, I'm crazy tonight. We put on this very
Things are gonna
conservative leather jacket.
Things are going to get bad tonight with
Hey,
this leather jacket.
Bad boys unite. There's always like the leather jacket, and those kind of leather jackets too are just like golf jackets that they make out of leather. Like, and it's just like, hi, I'm business casual Friday. Like, it's very like, I'm a little risky today. You know?
Things are going to get wild. I'm going to
Yeah.
have one more martini than usual.
Yeah, 100%. Like the leather jacket is like wearing like a salmon shirt. It's like, whoa,
It's a wild guy today.
insane.
Absolute wild guy. Well, like we were saying before, the first round was Lotto asks if everyone can dance.
Yeah.
And I don't know why Verzaki didn't show up, because they had a DJ. I don't know if you noticed, who was spinning records.
Yeah, that
And
would have
it
been a
wasn't
move.
Zach.
Yeah, that's true. He
What
comes
a
out with his
missed
bass. He's like,
opportunity.
dun, 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 dun.
But he wouldn't even, he can listen, he can save public disturbance for later. That can be at another point during a musical portion. He was also a
Yeah.
DJ for Zachy, and they had a DJ in a booth, and it wasn't Zach.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't understand.
that was a miss.
You're going to tease us on first episode?
He's like, "What's up, ladies?" You know, like the clap. If you're not watching on the YouTube, it's like pull the thing off. You're like, totally right over there.
Who wants to come into the booth VIP?
Yeah.
That could be the thing where it's like
100%.
one of the
Bottle
ladies,
service,
one of the
popping
ladies
bottles.
gets chosen to
That
be
would've
in the
been funny.
VIP. Like whoever has the most bad bitch energy gets put in the VIP booth with DJ
I
Verzaki.
love that. Yeah,
Missed opportunity. And then after they have their dance off, we have 3 legends show up.
Leggies.
Absolute legends. In walks alumni,
Yeah,
Tajwan, Victoria Fuller, and Courtney Robertson.
and they strutted.
And they strut hard.
I was intimidated.
So was I.
Like,
I
it
was
was
like,
like, whoa.
oh my God.
The way they came in, they were
Queens.
like, dude. They had like the eyes, like no one's stopping us.
Oh no, and they struck poses, and they were working it hard at the end of the runway. And if I was one of the women, I would have been sweating because they were just, it was perfect.
They were owning it. Yeah.
And they're also like 3 absolute power players in the franchise.
It really did feel like, okay, there's different levels to this game.
Yeah,
Like when
these
they
are the
walked in, I was like,
OGs.
oh, back in the day, people were like forces. Now everyone's just like, happy to be here.
Oh
It's
no,
like-
it was a different energy.
Yeah.
Well, Courtney right away says, "Don't worry, ladies, we are not here to steal your man," which is definitely
Some of the truth.
foreshadowing for a later
Right.
portion. But Lotto then encourages the ladies to show their bad bitch energy by strutting the catwalk, and the legends are going to watch, take notes.
Mm-hmm.
So the girls get glam. Zach is at the end of this runway.
Yeah.
Evan, what are your thoughts on
He's
this?
waiting there, right? Which makes it so much more awkward. I was shocked by how little overall the women did. Like, it was very conservative. It was like, come out, put a hat on, and then like give him like a thumbs up and then walked away. Like,
Yeah.
there was not much like, I'm coming out and doing something crazy.
Yeah,
which-
there were a few. Kylie and Brianna were the two that
Yes.
like brought it.
But other than that, it was very like, hi. And they came out and they're like, here's a bow. And they put a bow on him. And then they walked away and they gave him a smooch on his cheek. Like, there was, back in the old days, there would have been like, someone would have done like a backflip, landed on his like chest. He would have fallen over. He would have made out with it. Like, people would go so much harder.
it's very low key season.
Well, the women are very like, I don't want to overdo anything. I don't want to overstep at all.
Well, there's definitely that energy too in the house, and it's discussed that like everyone's best friends. Like we have a good, very like happy, homey energy. And
why you here? You know, rip it up. You know what I mean?
What would you have done if you were one of the ladies?
Dude, I would have slapped him. I would have slapped him and then just walked him back with me. Walked him like a dog back with me. Taking my whip out and be like, whack. Smacking his ass. I don't know, something like just crazy. You know what I mean?
I would have walked up to him, slapped him, and been like, "You cheated on me last night in my dream."
Just like highly unbridled emotional basket case of just a person. I start crying. It's begging. Why? And then you're like, see ya. And he's like, whoa, that's at least memorable. It's something.
That's what I was saying.
People coming out with like cowboy hats and then just like putting it on him. I'm just like, what is this, like a karaoke?
I will say, to the lady's credit, him being literally 2 feet from the start of the runway was a poor scripting production decision. You need to allow these people to get a runway. Like, I need momentum. I need to get wind behind my sails to pick up to get to him. When he's standing right in front of me, like, I literally, you walk out and he's right there. Like, I don't have any movement. I just can kind of do my little dance like a foot away from him. It's uncomfortable.
I would have done that challenge. You know how there's like challenges on social media where like someone's standing still and then the person gets on them and then tries to like climb over them and then go underneath their leg or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you just start climbing.
I start climbing him. And I'm like trying to go through his legs. Something.
You're like, don't move a muscle.
Yeah, something.
Trust the process. This is quite like the show.
Yes.
You need to stand still, Zach, and trust the process as I climb you like a monkey.
Yes. Something with some energy.
Well, I do want to make a note of when Mercedes came out. Davia is everything to me. Mm-hmm. Davia is the sweetest human being, the most like genuinely encouraging person.
She's just like clapping when other people are doing it and stuff. And you're like, what?
And you can tell that it's real.
She's like 0% competitive.
Like, but it's real kindness.
Yeah.
And then Mercedes came out and Davia is just like the eyes on her. And she's just like, Mercedes is so hot. It's amazing. I'm like, yes, it's true. And we love someone acknowledging it.
But she's like, doesn't have that bone in her body that's like, oh, that was lame, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like talking shit. She's just like, she is beautiful, and I just think she's great.
We
and you're like,
absolutely
wait,
love
do you know
to
where
see
you
her
are?
doing her thing. Yes, she's stunning. She's gorgeous.
And you're like, huh?
I'm like, this is for real though. Yeah. Well, they go from having a full walk off on the catwalk to Lotto then telling them that she would like them to tell Zach about a time in their life when they were being a real bad bitch. And Zach comes in and Zach literally goes, it's like when you stood your ground and you were just yourself and you said, no, I'm just going to be me. And he's just having this moment where he's just breaking it down. And in his head, he's like, can I say bad bitch? Yeah. Am I allowed to say bad bitch? Is it okay for me to say bitch?
Bad bee. But it's like, and he's just, yes, ladies, as she said, it's when you are strong and you are really being you. That's what bad bitch means to me.
Let me tell you about what it means to be a bad bitch.
It's when you're very strong.
What I've read about is that being a bad bitch is when you stand your ground and you tell them like it is.
But not in this case.
It means something positive in this case. Stand your ground. Tell them like it is. A real bad bee.
An example for me would be wearing this leather jacket. This is a very bad bitch vibe that I'm putting out. And this leather jacket is very dangerous, but also confident. So give me an example of a time you wore your, quote, leather jacket in real life. Okay, bitches. I mean, no. Sorry, I messed up the thing. Okay. Anyway, continue. It's just so like, from my research, bad bitch means when you're tough, but not rude to people. Confident, but not mean.
It's the voice.
Understood? I like a bit of danger in my woman.
Sometimes when I'm feeling like a bad bee, I put a little extra gel in my hair.
And I go out on the town. What I'm looking, ladies, for you is what I'm looking from you, ladies, is the kind of energy that when you go to a restaurant and they give you tomatoes when you didn't ask for tomatoes, and you say, "Excuse me, I didn't order tomatoes." That can be very scary. Okay, but you got to be strong and ask and bring it up and say, "I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid that you will judge me for this, but I asked for no tomatoes. Can I please send this back?" That is what I'm talking about. Anyway, that was very long, but you get my point. Something of that nature.
My stomach hurts. Oh my god.
I brought leather jackets for all of you. To really embody. And then everyone else is like, what the fuck just happened?
Oh my god, I can't breathe. Well, I don't even remember it.
So then they go on stage. Then they go on, you know.
The women go up and they have we don't really see a lot of detail with what a lot of the women get into. We only hear a few of the stories, but two of the ones obviously that stood out to me was when Kylie was talking about how there was the circumstance when she was told where she wasn't going to be able to wear her hair naturally. And then she said, she brought up her mom as well. And then she said, like, hell no. And she competed with her natural curls. That was amazing. Brianna talked about how she started her own beauty company. And Brianna's young. I mean, it's amazing. Other than that, we got like little clips of everyone else. We did see that Brooklyn had a moment where she was like, let's have a tequila shot with Zach, and then kissed him. Catherine was like, I'm here, am I not?
Yeah, there was quite a few. My bad bitch, active was when I came here, and like there's like a couple of those.
Which, by the way, would totally have been mine. I'm on it. My bad bitch moment is there's 50 cameras pointing at me with like smoking hot lights, and you just made me do a dance off in front of some random DJ. The legends walked in. I'm with Lotto, and I just had to strut a catwalk with the lead at the end. This is my moment.
I'd be so bad with that kind of like when you watch interviews and stuff, and people are like,
I got nothing.
What was the craziest thing that ever happened to you? You're like, what's the scariest moment you ever had? What's the best thing you ever? I would be horrible at those challenges. Yeah.
It's 1000% like those late night talk shows where they go up to random people and they're like, think of a name of a woman and just give them the microphone. I got nothing.
Like,
freeze.
I freeze.
Yeah.
If I'm on a show like this and they're like, tell us a moment when you were brave. I'm like,
when I was born, I came out. It was scary. The world was big and I pushed through.
That's it.
Seriously.
Now, Tajwan, during this whole portion, is watching this and she's like, these girls cannot compete.
Yeah.
I am the baddest. She's talking about how hot Zach is. Now, this is the moment, and this was a just devastating moment to me during this show. I am obsessed with Tajwan.
Yeah, she's hilarious.
Tajwan is literally everything. She is one of my favorite people that has ever graced the stand on Bachelor in Paradise. She makes me laugh. She's a goddamn supermodel. She is everything to me. When I saw that there was a potential that Tajwan was going to be on this season, my body lit up like a Christmas tree. I was so excited.
Yeah, she's so funny, and she's. I mean, how many lines has she? Hilarious lines on.
She's incredible
on the show, and then on Paradise, and like she's hilarious. She's gold for the camera.
She's gold. And those moments when after the daytime portion, they had the night portion, and she came in, lit me up.
Dude.
They were
You
incredible.
talking about when she was talking to the girls?
Yes.
That was unbelievable.
That was okay. I know I'm skipping ahead a little bit.
I mean, it was just like a real hearkening back to like the fearless energy that people had, which is just like, I will make waves and I don't care.
And she came in and she was just like, I'm going to pull Zach aside. He checks all the boxes. She tells Zach how she feels. Zach is like, okay, let me think about it.
Right.
And the women literally creep in and she's sitting there. Did you notice that she was lounging on the couch just waiting for them?
Didn't even shift.
The women are literally creeping in. They're like, hey, so, what are you doing here?
me?
What are you doing here?
Yeah.
We thought you were from earlier. No. And she doesn't even move. She's just lounging like a god on that couch. And she was like, well, it seemed like today there were a lot of you that really missed your opportunity and it was really painful to watch you on stage.
She literally was just like, that's not it. She's like, that was crazy. She said it was painful to watch. She's like, you guys know this is a competition, right? You guys know that you guys all aren't marrying him.
That was unbelievable. I was alive. I saw people on like Twitter and being like, that was me. And I'm like, no, that was everything.
That was a fire move.
That was everything. She came in and she's like, I just want to remind all of you. And then when she went and sat with them, she's like, just FYI, this isn't my first rodeo. Done this numerous times. I'm going in and I'm going to throw my hat in the ring. And if you guys cannot recognize that this is a competition, you're all acting like friends right now. But guess what? You're not all marrying Zach. Mm-hmm. So this is about to get real. And she came in and she dropped a truth bomb, which these women are going to start experiencing in like a week, where it's like, it feels good right now. And everyone seems so nice and sweet, but the tension is going to get high. The producers are getting involved and it's going to get rough.
It was a truth bomb.
It was a truth bomb.
It was a total truth bomb because there's like a real like, we're all best friends in this thing together. And it's given me just like that. No one's being honest here. A couple people who was being honest. Was it Kimberly?
Brooklyn
was just, it was Brooklyn. She's just kind of like, I don't want to hear about you making out. I don't want to hear all this stuff. And I'm like, you're being honest. Everyone else has got this weird rah-rah thing where everyone's like, oh, please tell me about how you made out with my potential husband. That's so great for you. I'm so happy for you. And it's very bizarre. I think everyone's trying to be very cool and respectful.
I feel like I respect it because I feel like I would come in like that. I'm like, okay, I'm going to act like nothing's bothering me. I want to get along with everyone. I don't want to make any waves.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, shit's going to be festering underneath the surface.
You're boiling inside.
I'm boiling inside. I know that if I'm sitting across from someone and they're like, oh, we were like doing a tongue situation where we were swirling it around in each other's mouths and then he spit in my mouth. He didn't do that with you.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh my God, I'm trying to not act like it's not bothering
He didn't
me.
choke you? Oh, weird.
Oh, he didn't put the ball gag on and walk you around like a dog?
Interesting.
Oh,
okay, he did that
I
with
thought
me.
he was doing that with everybody. I thought we, in fact, hadn't even progressed that much. But
It's
you
giving,
guys
like-
haven't even.
Yeah, it has that energy where it's like, this old thing, and it's like a mansion, and they're just like, yeah, thanks for coming over. Yeah, sorry, it's a mess, and it's
No big deal.
immaculate inside. It's got that kind of like everyone's putting on the perfect energy, but let's be real, deep down, that's not the case.
I think, okay, well, I felt like the one person, so the women did start getting somewhat upset by Tajwan.
Yes. She pulled it out.
But
of
it
him.
was still pretty low key. The one person who I thought we were getting the most honest moments from was Catherine.
Yes.
Who Catherine did end up getting the group date rose. I feel like Catherine is going to be one of our players who snaps at some point.
Yeah.
I can tell that she's starting to get, I think, a little agitated with the way that things are going in the house.
Yeah, she would say stuff like, well, this is uncomfortable, and like there's at least some comments out of her.
And not anything like, oh, wow, but more like, okay, yeah, she's being honest. Like she's not vibing how this is going and maybe how the conversation is about like all the communication.
Yes.
But I don't know if we're going to see it with her. I feel like, I don't know if we'll see her break. I'm interested to see how the producers are going to try to paint.
I don't know. Or Zach can just be like, well, you guys all seem to get along. Maybe we can all just be in a couple together. And he just is dating 20 people and there's just one, you know what I mean? They
Zach
just go,
might pull that
he's
out.
like, I'm not seeing any problem here. Like, you guys all seem to get along great. I get along with all of you. Like, we just wrap this
Let's
thing
just
up
do this
now.
thing. It's first time. First time we're going to do this. Well, Zach ends up sending Tajwan home, which is my devastation. I am so upset about it. I really this could have been such an incredible, incredible moment in the house. Also, I just am obsessed with Tajwan. So the fact that she's not going to be there and it was a tease is devastating to me.
I also love how they totally, I don't know if gaslighting is the right word, but there's this if he keeps her around, that's a real red flag. And it's okay. What? Okay, so
what?
Because there's another girl a part of the show you're on, he's a bad guy for exploring options?
Also, again, it's not like this is week 10 and there's only 2 people left and then someone comes in and people are upset. It's this is the first week, okay? If he wants to add people, I mean, you could add someone on whenever you want to.
Brianna was the only one who kind of said, hey, it's his right to explore options with other people. I believe it was her that said that.
Yeah, no, Brianna was just okay, let's take a moment for a second and remember, this is a show, and if he wants to bring someone on, it makes sense. And that was the thing that Catherine said too, which I do think was true, is Catherine said, well, I think what we do know about Zach is that he seems like he's pretty intentional. So if he does bring Tajwan on, it will mean that he's really feeling something with Tajwan. I did know that Zach asked Catherine, how did you get to this point? Which made me laugh. I was that feels kind of like a backhanded compliment.
It was a compliment, but also so you don't seem like someone who should be single. What happened?
He's just how are you at the point where you're coming on reality TV to be dating? I'm Zach, what's wrong with Bachelor?
I like her, and I think she knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
She just knows how to talk to him.
Agreed.
She knows how to flirt. She knows, certain people just know when to push and pull. She definitely knows how to do that.
Agreed. Well, also we had Brianna and Zach, and she expressed to him that she didn't feel like she had a support system coming in and that she wasn't feeling comfortable and she was starting to get emotional. You fully nailed this one in last week's episode where you were talking about you felt like it was almost a disadvantage to come in with America's first impression rose. And you nailed it. I really feel like we saw that a lot this week, and she did communicate a lot of the fact that it did have this burden, and it didn't feel like Zach was the one who chose her, and now she has to try to feel like she's catching up. And she also walked in feeling like she kind of had a target on her back with the other women. It was double disadvantage. And we get more into that in the episode, which we can dive into. But basically, this group date wraps with Catherine getting the group date rose, Tajwan being sent home, unfortunately, and kind of that setup with Brianna. Okay. Next, we have the one-on-one with Christina, which I'm excited to talk about. But first, let's take a quick pause. So I want to chat with you all about modern fertility. Let me make something clear. I think when most of us think back to sex ed classes, you probably learned all about how to prevent pregnancy, but what about how to plan for it? I sure did not learn about that in those classes. And what I've learned over the years is how extremely important it is to have conversations and info about your fertility so you can have that knowledge while planning, regardless of if you want kids immediately at some point in the future or if you plan to never have kids at all. That's why modern fertility was created. It's an easy and affordable way to test your fertility hormones at home with a simple finger prick. Mail it in with a prepaid label and you'll get your personalized results within 6 business days. When I took my modern fertility test, I got insight on my hormone levels and other important factors that can impact your fertility. The results go deep into what every hormone means. And you can also download the results to review with your doctor for next steps, which I did, and it was extremely helpful.
Traditional hormone testing at a fertility clinic can cost over $600, but modern fertility tests the same general set of hormones for only $179. And if you go to modernfertility.com/momdad, you can get $20 off your test. Plus, you can get reimbursed for the test through your FSA/HSA.
Modern fertility was so helpful and simple for me as I process my future, and I highly recommend it to all my friends and family. Again, Modern Fertility is offering our listeners $20 off the test when you go to modernfertility.com/momdad. That means your test will cost $159, which is a fraction of what it would cost at a fertility clinic. Get $20 off your fertility test when you go to modernfertility.com/momdad, modernfertility.com/momdad. Well, I got quite a fact for you all, okay? The average person has around 12 paid subscriptions. Think about that, okay? If you think you're...
I got more than that.
I was going to say, if you think you're only subscribed to a handful of services, you might want to double check, because I know when I double checked, I was subscribed to, I think, about 15. Okay, 11 of which I hadn't used in months or ever, to be honest. Well, with Rocket Money, you can quickly identify and cancel all of your unwanted subscriptions.
Rocket Money is seriously amazing. I know I use it all the time. Formerly known as Truebill, Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and help lowers your bills. All in one place. Simply find the subscription you don't want and press cancel, and Rocket Money will cancel it for you. No more long hold times with customer service or tedious emailing back and forth. Rocket Money makes canceling subscriptions as easy as a click of a button.
Over 3 million people have used Rocket Money, saving the average person up to $720 a year. And I will tell you, Rocket Money saved me almost $1,000 last year, just personally. So stop throwing your money away, cancel unwanted subscriptions, and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/momdad. That's rocketmoney.com/momdad. rocketmoney.com/momdad. Oh, also, I wanted to say this too about Zach.
Yeah.
Zach, even though I wish with all of my body that he would have kept Tajwan, probably a good move on his part.
I think he won over
I think
all
so
the ladies.
too. Like, I need Taj in my life, but when he came in and he communicated to, hey, everybody, she spoke to me, but I want to be fair to all of you, and I'm developing connections, so I said no. I was like, probably a good move.
Here's what I didn't like about it.
Yeah.
When you bring in someone like that, like, you create an anxiety in everyone where they have to start
competition.
Yeah. They start, I don't want her, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want her to steal my shine. So then everyone starts kind of like spiraling a little bit or rising to the occasion. I don't like the fact that he kind of gave everyone like, it's okay, you can relax now. You know what I mean?
Stress.
I want them to feel it. I want them to feel like you can't sit back and have this little like, everyone's
bonding.
fine. You know what I mean?
Listen, this is making me very curious with exactly how the producers are manufacturing this season, because let's be real, at the end of the day, you know, the lead has a certain say, but it's heavily producer chosen and run and all of this. So the fact that the producers didn't just say Tajwan is going to be coming, that it was like a potential offer, but then Zach was able to say no, makes me feel like this is constructed by producers to maybe allow Zach to have, as a lead, a little more say this season to potentially create more of a love story, since that has been lacking over the past few seasons and it's been more like chaotic drama. I think maybe this is a technique to be like, all right, we're going to let our lead, when he doesn't want to do it, we're not going to be like, you have to.
Yeah.
We're going to let him, because we've already seen numerous moments with Zach where he's kind of like, you can tell he's making certain calls, like the fact that he was like, okay, Madison, no, you can go home. Like, I feel like beforehand producers might have been like, no, tell her you have to think about it, and then wait till the rose ceremony to build up more drama. Now, I definitely smelt a lot of producer play during this episode, which we can talk more about later when we talk about Brianna. I feel like there was a lot of producer encouragement to have conversation. That's just my suspected thoughts. So the one-on-one date with Christina Mandrell is given the first one-on-one date, which is a big deal always with this show. And the whole conversation leading up to it is that she wants Zach to know that she is a mom. She wants to have like a personal conversation with him. Also noted, I did see on Twitter that crochet top that she's wearing, she made. That gorgeous top. So, I mean, Christina is coming in. She's got the famous family. She's charming. She's gorgeous. Apparently, she's a seamstress, a crocheter.
The boxes are being checked.
I mean, Christina is a power player. Now, will she be the first villain? We shall see.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm loving Christina.
Me too. I mean, she's fun.
But I think that she's getting set up to be the...
They're trying to push her. It definitely seems like they're trying to push her in that direction.
Yes.
They're trying to create these moments.
Well, her and Zach go on the date. They get immediately into the Jeep, and she asks him what his first concert was, and he says Nickelback.
Dude, that was crazy. And then I liked it too because she recoils. You know what
I know.
mean?
I was like, oh, she has the ick now. She's turned off.
Yeah, she recoils and goes, ah, and then she goes, that's awesome, or whatever
No,
she
she's
said.
like, I love
yeah, I was like,
Nickelback.
oh, get out of here, dude. You recoiled, and then you realized he wasn't joking, and then you then came back in and were like, oh, that's great.
She totally thought it was a joke. She's just like, oh, that's ridiculous. Then you're like, oh, no, you're serious.
It's like if you ate food at someone's house or like somewhere, and then they were like, or you went to a restaurant with someone, and then they were like, how do you like the hors d'oeuvres? And you're like, disgusting. You're like, who even owns this place? You're like, my dad. You're like, it's actually really good. I was just kidding because I'm funny. You know what I mean?
She's like, oh no, Zach definitely wants a photograph to be the song at his wedding. Like this is
look at this grass. But she was so slick in the car. When she got in the car, I mean, let me just tell you this. All I can speak for is myself. I get in the car with a woman that I am dating or like just started. She hops in the car, grabs my arm, and puts her head on my shoulder. Like, it's over. You've fallen in love. So like that move, like she just knew how to make him feel. He was driving.
Just
He's like,
cozy.
hey, welcome into my modern Bronco. And then she hops in.
it's comfortable right away.
So
It's
she
comfortable.
yeah.
And then she also made him feel seen with Nickelback. Nickelback is like rising from the grave right now, going like, finally,
Yeah.
somebody out there.
Like, we are the biggest band in the world, you know.
Just a reminder. And then they have their helicopter moment,
Yeah.
which you know me, I'm sweating. Lee, what are your thoughts on a helicopter date?
I never want to get into a helicopter.
Okay, thank you.
Like,
Thank you.
right?
so scary.
No, it's so terrifying. Beck and I used to always talk about this. Every time they have a helicopter date, if I'm one of the contestants and the helicopter comes flying, the chopper comes flying over, I'm crying. I'm like, nope, no way in hell I'm getting in there with you. I don't even know who you are. This is the most terrifying experience of my life. Absolutely not.
And I'm feeling like I have this fantasy about the chopper too, that it's like the same chopper they've used since day one. So it's like old and like there's a guy and like, you know, in all the movies when they were like, we got to get out of Florida and get to Panama. And they always hire this like old drug runner who's like this guy. He's like, how's it going? Yeah, I used to run drugs for the cartel back in the day. And they're like, can you get us to Panama? And he's like, no problem. And he's like, he gets it started up and he's like, hop on in. And they're like, well, I got one wheel, but no problem. He's like, whoa. They're like, we're not ready for this. He's like, no problem. We'll be fine. Like, I assume that's the guy who's doing the chopper. He's just like, oh, welcome. And he just like comes out and he's like, got some crank. He's like, son of a bitch still runs. And they all hop in.
Well, what do
and
you
it's
know
just
about
like,
that?
I was like, sorry, my cataracts are acting up. It's like they're like, it's like they've just had it like in the back of the mansion for the last like years and just
my
like
God,
dust
you
off
just-
the old bird.
Hell no. Absolutely not. With all the love in my heart, I will never get in a helicopter
It's
with you.
sketchy.
No,
It's
it's
very
so
sketchy.
Well, and she was like so excited. She's like, it's on my bucket list. She's
Yeah.
like, I don't even think I've ever been this close to a helicopter in my life, which definitely had a moment that I was like, oh my gosh, our photo's going to come out, which they didn't. But on Pilot Pete's season, there was a moment where Victoria Fuller goes skydiving with Pete, and she's like, I'm so scared of heights, and she was crying in the back of the car, and she's like, I can't do this. And then the next day a photo emerged of her skydiving from years ago, which is iconic. And so when Christina was like, I don't even think I've ever been this close to a helicopter, I was waiting for photos the next day of her next to her like family's helicopter.
Yeah, her and the Mandrell sisters like choppering to the gig.
But she ends up being surprised with the date of going to Zach's family's house
Wild.
in Anaheim. And he's like, by the way, today you're going to be meeting my parents because it was my mom's birthday and I missed it. So we're having a makeup celebration with my mom and my dad and like 20 of our cousins and families and friends.
A first date meeting.
How would you
meeting the
feel
whole
in this?
Horrible.
I
mean,
don't
listen.
foresee you
It's horrible, dude.
doing so great on a date.
No, it'd be horrible. Like, I need like some prep. I need to like psych myself out. I need to like kind of take some time to kind of like look at pictures of people and be like, all right, cool. Like, I'm pretty chill. I can get along with people, but my whole thing would be like, this sucks. Like, I'm trying to get to know you, and then I'm sitting here having to talk to like Aunt Kathy about like whatever. And
Yeah, do you think it's an advantage? Or is it a disadvantage? Like, because you're not having that one-on-one with the lead, but you are then in with the family.
I think it's an advantage for the lead because the lead's like seeing you in his real life. And so he's picturing you. I think it's a disadvantage to the person doing it just because it's like, you're nervous, you're on edge, you're not having fun. You're kind of like, why are we doing this? Like, this is usually date 20, this is awkward, and the family was great too. Cause the family is just like, well, how do you like him? He's like, oh, he's great. What's he? Give me some dirt. And it's just like they're just like, he's silly and like he was in a band and like there's the goddamn band again. You know what I mean? Like,
they were like, yeah, what? Like, tell us something crazy. She was like, yeah, tell me something crazy. And all of the cousins were like, well, he was in a band. And she's like, no way, show me photos. And all I could think about was, this is of all the people, and I don't think Zach knows this, of all the people. You're showing photos of Zach's 7th grade band, Public Disturbance, to Christina Mandrell of the famed Mandrell family who is in music, like Nashville royalty.
Right.
And you're like, he was in a 7th grade band. And she's like, wow, this
please
is
tell
amazing.
me about how you played bass in 7th grade.
And she's just like, do you know the dynasty of music that is my family? Like, that Christina has been backstage at every
with
single
Willie Nelson and
the big Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton comes to breakfast every Thursday.
She was in T Swift's music video. I mean, like, this is some
she's
serious.
not impressed by public urination, dude. Like, it's not doing it.
But I don't think he probably knows that about her.
Right.
Which is then just such a wild moment of watching back if I'm Zach and just feeling so like, oh no, like, don't show it to her. Anyone else, you could be like, I was in a band. They all seemed so lovely.
Everyone was really nice.
The family seemed so lovely, but Mama brought out the photo album of Zach when he was like a baby, and Christina was so gracious, and I think she handled everything. She's so charming.
Well, you could just tell that she's, I think if you're in a famous family, you're used to operating under any circumstances, any social situations. Like, she's trained in the art of like dealing with anybody.
I mean, you could tell that like she was just so comfortable, the right person to bring to a family affair. But when they busted out the photo album with the 1-year-olds, I'm like, if I'm Christina, I'm sitting there and my anxiety is getting higher and higher as I'm trying to act like I am so infatuated with this person that I've known for 24 hours that I'm like, the baby photos. But it made me think, remember Zach and Rachel's first date? They went to the movie theater and saw slideshows of themselves when they were little.
That was wild.
But I mean, she handled it so well. The family was...
I do think it's a net positive though.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, like, they shared that experience together, which was very intimate.
Yeah.
Especially for him. So it's like, I think that he clearly loves his family so much.
Yes.
The fact that she was a part of that means that, like, in his brain, he's connecting how much he loves his family with her. Like, I think there's a lot there.
Well, then they went to the night portion, of which, to me, I mean, Evan saw me. I was definitely getting teary watching this portion of the date because...
It was beautiful.
Christina then is like, okay, this is now the time that I'm going to share about the fact that I'm a mother. I have a daughter named Blakely May, and she just opens up about, the fact that she's a single mom, the idea of her going to those first day of school and dropping off her little one and just being alone and being ready to have someone there as a partner. And then the way that Zach handled it was, I think, the best we've ever seen a lead handle hearing that someone has a child. He, first of all, was just listening to her, like asking her daughter's name and just processing what she was saying. And then he lets her know that it's a lot to take in and that he's looking for a family for the future, but that it's really scary. And he doesn't do this whole, like, I absolutely am ready. Like, I want a family, so I am ready to bring your child into my life and become part, and we'll just be a giant happy family, and let's do this, and I'm ready. He immediately communicated to her, like, I don't know what it's like. I have no idea what it's like to be a step parent. I don't know what it's like to be a dad. He lets her know that it does introduce a timeline really quickly, and that it scares him shitless, to be honest. And He's like, I think sometimes that we need to be selfish. So I'm trying to process this. And I mean, it is a real conversation.
It's a real conversation for sure.
And I don't know how you felt, but I'm like, as a parent, if I were to be a single parent, I would feel very safe with the conversation that I was having. If I was Christina in that situation, I would feel extremely safe because I'd be like, okay, I'm sitting across from somebody who's not bullshitting me. And she even communicated that. She's like, this makes me feel really good that you're not just giving, like spoon feeding me answers that I want to hear. Like, you're taking this very seriously. This is like a human's life. This is my child. And you're telling me you're scared. You're telling me you're nervous, that you are nervous you might not be a great dad because you don't know if you're ready. And you don't know how you feel about this. And then you offer the rose in a way that's not like, I promise I'm going to be ready to be a dad. It's like, he told her, I just want you to know it's a two-way street. And so I want to offer you this rose and I want to keep getting to know you. But I also need you to know that I don't know how I feel about this as I process this. And this is a question mark for me and I'm scared.
Yeah.
But I would like to keep getting to know you. I think the way that the two of them handled this was textbook perfect.
Yeah. I mean, I felt like a lot of people say stuff like, listen, thank you for sharing that. That means a lot. You're amazing. You're an amazing mom. You know, the classic lines. And then there's like, but I want to let you know, I'm not afraid of this. And if we're supposed to be together, I can't wait to meet your daughter. 26 years old, bullshit.
Yeah, he's young.
Like, tell me a 26-year-old is not terrified of being a father before he's even dating anyone.
Yeah.
Like, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, and I think he was super honest with that. He was like tearing up about it. Like, he told her straight up how he felt. I think he couldn't have been more respectful, and she couldn't have been sweeter how she even handled the like telling him about it. She wasn't panicky when she seemed like she was going to lose him there for a second. Remember when he was kind of, well, this is really scary for me. You saw her kind of quivering lips a little bit. She didn't try to like sell herself at all on it. Like, it was just straight up, really respectful, really beautiful moment. He's terrified. I would be too at 26. He owns it, respects her because of that. And then I felt what it really did for me was show me how much he truly likes her.
Oh, 1,000%.
Because I think he was on the verge of cutting it off. I felt like he almost did it. There was a level of like, you could see him being like, but I want to continue this thing.
Yeah.
Which shows you, dude, I mean, 26 years old, to even just go into that as an option, I think it shows you that they're bonded. And the fact that he chose her for the one-on-one.
Yeah, I don't know how much control he has over choosing her for the one-on-one.
Oh, okay.
I am not
Maybe
sure.
not.
I think that might be production, but
Either way, I think he
connected.
really likes her.
I think so too.
I think he
so
really,
too.
really likes her.
Yeah.
So like, he didn't even bring Tajwan on because of the vibe. He's like, I think you're a little too late. Maybe not the right vibe right now. Let's not do it. Right? This person says, I have a child, and he's like, let's keep going.
Yeah.
So I think it shows that they have a strong connection.
Yeah, and it would put, if I was Christina, it would put a lot of trust for me into the fact that I don't think he's going to keep me around a second longer than I need to be.
Right.
Because that's the thing. It's like, when you have a child and you're going on a show like this and you're potentially going to be gone from your kiddo for, 2.5 months, like that's such a huge sacrifice and you miss your kid. And so to know that I have someone in the lead position who's not going to just like be dangling me and then cut me, randomly far in, even if you knew way earlier that, you weren't going to be vibing with me or you weren't ready to take on a potential step parent role or anything like that. So I was just like, hats off to both of them. And I felt like Zach, that really was very telling of who Zach is as a person. The way that he handled everything. I appreciated it, especially as a parent. I felt like watching that, I really appreciated it. So she gets the rose and looks like they're cruising. Now, we now have the second group date, which is with the remainder of the women. Here's the thing, Evan. I saw via Reality Steve that apparently they cut out the day portion of the date. So
Or we go straight to the night.
We go straight to the night. Yeah. And you're like, oh, this is a really short group date. Well, apparently they had a day portion of the date that was with Uncle Patrick Warburton. Uncle Pat. Kronk. They didn't have him at the family get together. They had a special date just with Uncle Pat, and they cut him. If I'm Uncle Pat, I am furious.
I'm calling the agents immediately.
Like, are you joking me? Like, the famed Uncle Patrick
Like, this was my
Warburton
comeback.
gets cut, and that's all that you need to know. You know, if you're out there trying to pursue acting and you get a scene and then they cut it and you're devastated and you're just like, am I not good enough? Just remember that it has nothing to do with you because they cut Uncle Pat.
Gronk got cut.
Kronk got cut. Putty got cut.
Gronk got cut.
And not only that, apparently it was
Putty.
Putty got cut, and apparently it was like a puppet show date. So you know it was probably hilarious. And I know it's likely a time situation, but I have a theory. I have a theory that during the puppet
Putty's
show,
dating one of the girls. Come here. I'm not with Elaine anymore.
Listen here, ladies. I know that you're dating my my nephew here. Great guy. I am single and ready to mingle, and I certainly have bad bitch energy.
I am noticing you three are not really connecting with him. Well, let me show you what connection really looks like.
I really think my deep dark theory is that the women used the puppet show as a way to communicate with the audience how the producers manipulate them. So Uncle Pat's
Morse
like,
code.
show us something that you've experienced so far along this journey. And, you know, one of the women were like,
wow.
we're like, this is me and my name's such and such. And this is, let's just call her Patricia. And Patricia is keeping me up all night. I've gotten no sleep. They're withholding food and drink from me, and I can no longer sleep. I'm starting to lose it. I'm spiraling. And then they just cut.
And they're like, oh,
The producers are watching, and they're like,
and Putty's like, whoa, oh, okay. Anyways, and she's like, you can't pee. Hold it. She's like, and then Putty's sitting there
listen
like,
here.
whoa.
You can go to sleep if you give us information about your roommate. What has she been saying about Zach? Tell us that she's here for the wrong reasons. But I'm so tired. I've been up for 14 hours. We don't give a shit.
I'll confess to anything. Like, I think, I feel like, and then Putty's sitting there like, well, this is dark. Anyone else want to come up?
I did not experience this at my time with Disney when I've done numerous movies and television shows.
Never a problem for me. That's insane. And they're just like, okay, cut it. We're straight to the night.
So that's my theory.
I love
that's
that.
my theory. But we just get the night portion, which is pretty low key, all in all.
Yeah.
You know, we have Zach connecting with Ariel, Greer, Katie, They're all macking. They're all kissing.
Oh, the one thing I did want to say, though, is the Jess situation was hilarious to me because they had been talking earlier in the day about tongue.
Yes.
And Jess was like, I never use tongue when I make out. And every girl's like, what? Of course you use tongue. That's a part of it. And then Jess is kind of like, ew, kind of vibe, you know? And then later on in the night, he leans in to kiss her. And she's, okay, well, first of all, that little moment killed me because, oh, no, okay. So he leans in to kiss her, and then I'm waiting for tongue because I'm like, here we go. She learned, you know, from the masters about tongue.
Which is just ridiculous.
And then she just goes, mwah, 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 and they literally, like they're touching each other's faces, but just smooching. And I just thought that is the most hilarious
Listen, Jess
thing
is
ever.
not into the tongue so
Not
much.
into the
you know,
tongue.
respect. Well, actually, Jess was the big moment that we saw where she wants to know something unique about him, something that only she know at that point. And he opened up about, oh my gosh, having pyloric stenosis when he was born, which was like a life, like
It was
a
intense.
potentially
Yeah,
like,
we didn't know that.
oh my goodness. And he was talking about how that's like how he has this deep connection with his mom because like she wasn't sure if he was going to make it when he was young. And now he has this sense of purpose. And it was like, oh my gosh, there's so much. This is one of those moments where like we just keep talking about public disturbance and like, you know, Verzaki, but like clearly
That's
there's
a real
more
thing.
to the story that's going on here. And that was one of those moments. And he felt seen and appreciated by her, which he ended up giving Jess the group date rose. Now, meanwhile, we have Gabby. So Gabby is one of the players who has not spoken to Zach at all. And she is starting to get in her head about it.
Yeah.
She is getting in her head about this. She is spiraling to the women. She's listening to all the women bonding over their makeout styles with Zach. You know, how Zach has taken one of the women for a walk, choked another one, done all the things. And Gabby's like, we haven't even spoken at all.
Yeah.
So what's going on? In fact, she was getting like tips and tricks from the women, and she had a full game plan going in of how she was going to have a conversation with Zach. Well, the second she sat down with Zach,
She's like, "Ah."
she said it was full word vomit,
Right.
and it was a lot. And we weren't really hearing music behind it, so at first I was like, are the producers going to let us think that this went smoothly? Because from what it seems to me, it's a lot. This is a lot.
Yeah, you could just tell that she'd probably spoken to him the least out of everybody, almost. She was nervous. She was seeing herself fall behind. She kept saying, I gotta figure out a way to get everything about me and who I am mixed in with connecting with him, mixed in with asking him questions. And instead of just kind of
like,
naturally.
Okay, it's honestly, it was the...
She was like, born and raised.
It was the
baby book.
word version of the baby book.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm going to start at day one. I was born to a father and a mother, a middle class. It was like that. And
then
was
it got
just
awkward real fast. And then you know things are awkward when you're in a conversation with someone, because there was a line that went, and I love farmers markets. And then he goes, yeah, I like those too.
You're like, oh
And
no.
it's like, oh shit.
We all love a farmer's market.
But the second you bring up farmers markets and how much you like going to them, it's time to eject.
It's crashing and
Not
burning
good.
fast. And honestly too, I felt bad because when she started the conversation with like, I love a nickname, and she was saying it all too fast, so I think he couldn't quite process what was going on. She started throwing out nicknames for him. She's like, can I call you Zacharias? Zachy? For Zachy? And he like wasn't tracking, and he's like, Zachy, I guess. And she's like, well, you can call me Gabriella. And I could tell that she was trying to be fun and funny with him.
Of course.
And it seems like she's got a fun sense of humor, but she was saying it all so fast that if I was in the lead's position, I'd be like, I don't understand what's happening right now.
I don't realize how much anxiety is being
If we would have
thrown at me.
slowed down a couple beats here and settled in, I think the whole nickname bit would have been a cute moment with them.
Yes.
But she was on 100. It was very much Red Bull times 5 energy.
Also, like, think of the nickname, like a good nickname before you sit down so you can kind of throw it out there.
Yes.
Zach. No, he doesn't want to be called Zachy.
I mean, he did go by Verzachy.
No, but his
so
mom
maybe he
probably
doesn't hate
calls
it.
him Zachy. You know what I mean? You don't want to be Zachy.
Yeah.
So I think she just panicked,
Yeah.
you know? So then she went away, right?
Yes.
And
she knew the second
she's
she walked
spiraling.
away, she was like, oh my God. She went and had a producer moment even.
She also didn't get a kiss. And so then she was asking everybody else, what did she, he's like, well, everybody was like, no, he just leaned into me and did it. And so then she's spiraling. So I'm thinking it's over for her. Like, I'm thinking, okay, cool. Like, you know, normal deal. You're settled. It's done. It's gone.
Cut to the cocktail party, and she sits down with him right away, and he tells her that she's the one that he gets the butterflies around.
And gets giddy around. It's like, what?
That was left field to me. That one, you could have,
out of nowhere.
I would have put a lot of money on the fact that she was going home.
Gone. And then he leans in, kisses her, and then like all of a sudden all the anxiety goes away and they're vibing, and it's like, what the hell just happened?
No, I did not because I was not getting from him when he sat with her the first time that he was feeling nervous.
I felt like he was kind of like, cool, like, all right, anybody else want to hang out?
Now, when I stopped and thought about it, it made sense to me because he gave Greer his first impression rose. And by the way, when they had their moment at the night portion of the group date, she got like 2 words out and he was like, come here, and just wanted to mac with her. So he gave Greer his first impression rose. I feel like Gabby and Greer look like twin sisters.
They're very similar. Look, there's a sister vibe.
So I'm
there.
getting a vibe that maybe physically that is his type.
He's got a type,
and
yeah.
so even if Gabby...
He's like, come here, Greer, too. Grabby. He's like, come here, Grabby. Both of them just have the same name.
No, it wouldn't. I mean, honestly, if he would have called her Greer, it wouldn't have surprised me.
Right.
That's the vibe I was getting. I got the vibe
you're
that like
so my type that like we'll figure that.
but,
We'll
like,
figure out the whole.
He was
like,
a little bit like,
conversation
sure,
thing.
you can call me Zachy as much as you want.
Shut up and kiss me. Kind of thing,
That
yeah.
was the energy I was
Sure.
getting because I was like, that did not go over smoothly. So I'm pretty sure the butterflies are coming from him being very attracted.
Attraction can beat out, anxiety there.
I don't doubt that then they're going to like have a really good connection. It felt like the second time that they talked that they were really, I mean, she brought him peanut butter cups and he was really wowed by
then they made
that.
out
And then
with
they made
them,
out with the
yeah.
peanut butter cups. Which if you're going to make out with any food, you know what?
Got to do dessert. You got to do chocolate. I mean, chocolate's the move.
Yeah.
Not meatballs and meat sauce.
Well,
okay?
yeah, that was not the move, as we saw that Kat was
the
sent
demise of
home.
Kat.
Unfortunately, we won't ever get to see her enjoying the hot dogs that apparently she loves from her bio. I was really hoping for that for a group date hot dog eating contest.
Yeah.
But he has his moment with Gabby, and then Brooklyn takes him to the front of the house, and they have a lassoing.
Yeah.
I was like, Evan, except she's lassoing some plastic steer and not him. So that was disappointing.
Yeah.
But we see that they're connecting.
I think Brooklyn, real quick. I think Brooklyn, I'm not seeing a deep connection with them, but what I am seeing is Brooklyn is incredible at playing this game. Like,
Do you think Brooklyn was one of the ones coached by Clues?
I don't know. She just feels like she's really good at knowing what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like even her dance in the first the walkout, she did the thing where she took him, got a shot with him, they kissed. Like she's always doing these little moments.
Yeah.
You know, and then she's also the one that said like, I'm tired of this like girl party thing where everyone's like best friends. Like she seems like she knows what she's doing more than everyone else. Like she's creating memorable moments.
Agreed. Going well for Brooklyn and Zach. Okay, then we have Brianna.
Yeah.
Now, like we said before, Brianna is feeling it with America's First Impression Rose.
Really got to her.
Makes perfect sense to me. Also wanted to say I heard Brianna on the Bachelor Happy Hour podcast, and she was talking about how on that first night, what we didn't see, obviously we saw the conversation with Christina, which Brianna talks about in the episode, but she was saying on the podcast that there were numerous moments where some of the women were physically blocking her from trying to talk to Zach. And there were numerous people saying certain things that were like, you know, undercutting about her being there. And like I said, physically, she said there were people getting in the way of her to talk to Zach, which would have been wildly frustrating. And I mean, so upsetting your first night. And like she had mentioned too, like she was already in her head about the America's First Impression Rose. Like, okay, gotta, like you had said before, like there's that pressure of like, okay, Zach and I need to connect now. But I can't imagine then having a situation where first night people are blocking me from talking to the lead.
Yeah.
I'm so frustrated. You're sleep deprived. She said she didn't get to talk to him until about 4:30 in the morning. Mm-hmm. So she had been trying all night. And I'm then going into the situation being like, okay, maybe they don't like me. And everyone's bonding in this house and is like, we love each other. And yet for me, first night, I'm getting dismissive comments thrown at me and people are blocking me. I'd be seriously anxious and frustrated.
Yeah. So
from my perspective, watching this, I was seeing very much producer conversation with Brianna, especially then after hearing Bachelor Happy Hour and hearing that it was numerous people who had been blocking her and making comments. Now, I don't know if all those other women were sent home and Christina was the only one there, but Brianna talking with Christina and Zach felt very much to me like producer encouragement, like, or throughout those few days, producer sitting with Brianna being like, didn't it bother you what Christina said? Or, you know, we heard that she was saying other things, or I think Zach should know about it, or you should talk to Christina. That was the energy that I was getting 1,000%.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that's happening. That definitely feels like that too. It feels like they're getting in her head. They're creating doubt. They're creating insecurities. They're trying to mess with her because she seems like really confident. And so this kind of felt out of left field, her like spiraling.
Well, that's the thing too. When you're seeing the ITMs with Brianna, and this is such like melodrama,
right.
But this was kind of some of the only drama in the episode, like interpersonal drama. But when you're seeing in her ITMs, you just see how she is like very much being like consciously aware of how she's going to be communicating with Zach and needing to get to know Zach because she knows that it's America's first impression rose. So she hasn't been having this energy of like, I got America's first impression rose, screw all of you, like I'm coasting, I'm good, America loves me. Like she's having these conversations in ITMs where she's like, man, I'm feeling super anxious. I'm normally not really wired this way. I'm feeling anxious. I feel like I need to be honest with Zach. And then afterwards, when you were seeing post the conversation with Zach, she's like, I think I'm going home. Like, so her bringing it up to me, to Zach, like I said, felt producer pushed.
It could be. It could be. You know, I feel like it's a classic mistake people make. Like we see it every single season. Yeah. If I'm just being super, like, just honest about her and him on the show, I'm not seeing a lot of chemistry. So when, not like, nothing bad. Like she seems amazing. He seems like a great guy. They seem like on paper.
Yeah, but I just don't feel like they have a lot of chemistry.
And then when he even said to her, I feel like you have walls up. I think that's language for, I don't know what it is, but it's just not happening.
Yeah,
and I feel like there was pressure put on our relationship. And I think that's the curse of that initial rose was like a lot of pressure, but they haven't really found their thing yet. And she's feeling it. I think she's feeling aware that like, I don't know if it seems to be like vibing with all these couple other girls and this doesn't seem to be working. Yeah. She's doing all the right things. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like, I think they have something, but it's just not quite there like some of the others.
Yeah. Well, she ends up pulling Christina aside.
Yeah.
And listen, from my perspective, if you're going to be open about something that you're frustrated with, you always pull just the individual aside. So I was happy to see that. I was like, okay, I'm glad this is a one-on-one conversation and it's not like the full group of women sitting together, so that then you have a moment where Brianna is sharing how she felt and then all the people who are currently friends with Christina are like, what? And it becomes this whole thing. They just had their one-on-one conversation. She explained to Christina how she felt with the things that Christina had said that first night, which we discussed that first episode. We were like, in our opinion, we were like, okay, I think Christina was maybe trying to be funny, but like I would have been frustrated. It was poking. You could feel there was energy behind it. But then Christina, again, I think plays the right move and immediately apologizes. And I'm very, very sorry that came out that way. I don't remember saying this, which I don't know. We'll see later on. Brianna's like, okay, I'm going to choose to believe that, but that still happened. And, you know, so they have their peace moment, but it doesn't feel like it's done. It was just like, okay, let's put a Band-Aid over it for a moment. And then we see Brianna talking to Zach. Now, this is the moment I'm starting to panic because Brianna, and I know she's already then feeling the tension, brings up to Zach, there was comments made in the house, and there was one specific person who made a specific comment, do you want to know? And Zach basically says no. Zach's like,
smart.
He's like, which again is a smart move.
Smart move.
And he goes, I don't think, if you guys have dealt with it, then I don't need to know. And then I thought Brianna was going to be like, because then she said, well, you know, for full transparency, maybe. And I'm like, no, don't say it. Don't say Christina. Don't say Christina. And she didn't. And I was like, okay, phew.
Yeah.
Okay, we didn't have any specific names because it's too early in the game.
But she did bring up what happened.
Right. But it's too early in the game to actually be mentioning specific names, I
think.
Too
early in the game to associate your name with drama.
Yes.
It's just, you don't want to do that.
No.
Because it's like, it's not about right or wrong at all. It's about the lead's brain connecting you with, when I think of them, I'm going to have to deal with problems.
Yes.
And you don't want to put that in their brain early on.
No. So I think the fact that she didn't mention Christina's name, I was like, okay, that's good. But like you said, then Zach brought up like, you know, I don't feel like we're connecting, which again was another moment where I was like, I appreciate Zach being honest instead of just going, oh, I'm sorry, you've been struggling and there were these things that were happening and catch you later. He was like, no, I just want to let you know, I don't feel like we've been connecting and I don't know if it's something I'm doing, but I'm feeling like maybe you have walls up and is there something we can do? And I was like, this is good communication.
Totally.
I'm impressed. But then the conversation ends where Brianna's like, I think I'm going home for sure.
Yeah.
Like post this. We see then later the rose ceremony. She does not go home. She's given that last rose. And who is sent home is Victoria, TikTok Victoria.
I know.
I'm devastated.
Makes sense though. You havenent seen any sort of footage
I
of
know,
them
we didn't
even
see,
talking. So it's
I was
like
so sad though because TikTok, Victoria TikTok has the best like show commentary and content after, and I was really hoping maybe she'll continue to keep doing it, and maybe we'll get some tea from Victoria. I hope that we continue to see TikTok Victoria.
Yeah.
I have high hopes for Paradise.
yes,
I want
think
more content.
she's perfect for
She's
Paradise.
perfect for Paradise. And then Kimberly went home as well, who seemed so lovely. I'm sad to see her go. And Kat, it's going to be sad to not have Kat there. She was so dynamic. She was fun.
It didn't. I mean, I saw this coming, but I did like to see her
again. Another Paradise for sure. Though there's no way that she's not.
Well,
she
she had played out the thing.
Paradise.
She, of course, when she did the catwalk. I mean, no pun intended. She then came out as a cat, and it was just like, okay, like
it was perfect.
we've done the cat thing.
But yeah, they end up going home. So remaining there, Catherine, Christina, Jess, Brooklyn, Genevieve, Greer, Allie, Charity, Katie, Gabby, Ariel, Anastasia, Kylie, Davia, Mercedes, Bailey, and Brianna. And then we have a preview for next week, which, speaking of Brianna, it looks like Christina is the centerfold for the drama.
Yes.
And it looks like a lot of the women are not happy with Christina.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like now Brianna's like, okay, this is what I'm talking about.
Yes.
And I got this version of Christina the first night, and now you all are seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
So now the question is this coming week, is Brianna going to present to Zach?
Oof, that's a tough one. I always vote no,
see.
but you never know.
I know.
Well, this leads me to just a pitch that I have for the show. I had a show idea for the show.
Okay.
Paradise has wells.
Yes.
What we need is a suave character.
Okay.
Who is always drinking at the bar in the house.
Oh, in the mansion. Okay.
Smoking cigarettes. Probably in his 50s.
Okay.
Could be anyone. Doesn't have to, but I'm just picturing the most interesting man in the world. You know the Jose Cuervo guy?
Yes.
And he's sitting there and he's smoking and he's drinking. And earlier in the day, well, and he's there for advice or just to shoulder to cry on, someone to talk to. He's just this character. He's always there smoking cigarettes and drinking. And earlier on in the day, you go talk to him. You're like, I'm getting ready for my date tonight, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, no problem. You know, always remember that true love waits. You know, he's like full of this poetry and these beautiful things. Thank you so much. It means a lot that I could talk about this. But he keeps drinking. And he's getting drunker and drunker and drunker. So when the girls come back from the night and they're devastated or happy or whatever, he's there and he's wasted and giving horrible advice. And he's just like, and the girl's just sitting there going like, I don't know if he even likes me. He's like, you don't need this show. There's more to life. I lost my true love. And he's like, and then they're crying. And then he like jumps in the pool like drunk. And he's just like, why, God, why? And like, he's just there always drinking. And then like, he's always kind of a sounding board for these women. I think this would create a lot of interesting, you know, and then one of the women at some point, well, how come me and you don't, like, me and you get each other?
They fall in love?
Or, you know, he's just, I can never love again.
This is my job.
This is my life now to give. You know what I mean? And there's just like this interesting character that's always there that we can have a lot more interesting conversations while the other things are going on.
I'm definitely down for that. I also like the idea of having just kind of like a Where's Waldo that's always in the background. Like he's always in the background of everything. Like I enjoy that.
And during the late night, you see him passed out like on the floor somewhere and he's just like shirt off and you're like, oh man, he went too hard for the day. And he's back the next morning and he's just, good morning, ladies.
I like this.
I like this. Okay.
I like this. And then he can also have his ITM moments where he's the secret revealer because, you know, obviously people are dumping information on him. So every once in a while we get the ITM from the BTS situation.
And then she'll never make it. She's not built for this. You know what I mean? And there's just like he becomes a character.
I like this.
Okay, cool.
I like this. Okay, one other thing from the preview for this next week. Katie. spending the night potentially.
Oh, yeah.
Which looks like that's what the drama is.
Because this is like, well, someone said, like, it looks like that's a walk of shame or something.
Right. And then you hear Christina being like, well, I think ours was way more special. And you're like, oh, no. But it looks like Katie has the sleepover with Zach.
Mid-season release.
Yes.
Wow.
I sure hope so.
Me
I hope they're not
too.
teasing us with that.
That would be insane.
Because
People would
regardless
lose
of
their
if anything
minds.
happens or not, it's going to be a drama fest.
Yes.
Which, oh my God, I forgot to mention too, the moment where Zach comes in at the beginning of the cocktail party and is thanking the women for the past week, and then is like, Christina, also thank you so much for coming and meeting my family. And Christina looks at him and goes, the women didn't know that I met your family.
Yeah. We're building.
That was another moment where I'm like, is this producer involvement? Is Christina playing a game where she's like, I'm going to keep all my cards close to my chest.
Yes.
And so the less that they know about me, the less that they can share. I might pull a Christina. I might have gone back to the house and been like, I'm not going to tell them I met the family. Because it also puts a target on your back because now everyone's like, oh, she's closer to him than we are. So I probably wouldn't have said anything. But also I can hear a producer in her ear being like, you shouldn't say anything because they know the house is getting really close. And then if they tell her not to say something, then she's feeling that. Because the fact that he even brought that up was unlike typically what we see with a lead, where at the toast they mention the specific person they went on the one-on-one with.
Right.
So that feels producer to me for him to be like, by the way, Christina, thank you so much for coming and meeting my family. And she's like, fuck you, producers.
Awesome.
Like, you told me not to say anything. And now in front of everyone, I smell upcoming drama.
I smell upheaval.
Well, I'm excited now I think that the first episode was good. This one was slow. The second episode was slow.
See it heating up.
I feel like next week's episode is going to be toasty.
And I think we're in for real love.
I think we are too.
Like, I actually think so.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, which is beautiful, you know?
We love that real love.
Incredible.
Real love, like you and me and you, both of us together.
I don't know this song.
All right, should we have some call home moments?
Yes, let's do our call homes.
Yes, let's talk to the family.
Hey.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Huge fan. My question is, should I pursue my best friend's little brother? So basically, my best friend and I have been best friends for about 6 years, and at her engagement party back in August, I am like reunited with her family. Her little brother, who is not so little anymore, suddenly looks like a grown-up and is so mature and is like a man. And I'm like, what is going on? Why am I feeling these things? And then we get a little too drunk and we kiss at her engagement party.
I have chills.
And then fast forward to New Year's, I end up going on vacation with her family, and her brother's there again, and we kiss again. In the rain on the beach.
Wow.
And he tells me he likes me and all this stuff. And I am like, okay, cool. So we're a thing. But then it never really goes anywhere. Like, we never really hang out, even after I drop hints about like, we should hang out. So I'm just wondering, is it just a drunken kiss? Is it like, how do I navigate this? And also my best friend can't talk to me about it because I can't tell her I have a crush on her brother, you know? Anyways, that was a lot. But yeah. Help.
I like
Forbidden
this. This is good drama. This is good drama.
This is good drama. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna need a follow up with this one. Okay, thoughts.
My
off the top.
initial thoughts are, you need to figure out with him if he wants to continue and if this is something he actually wants, because you don't want to like breach the topic with the friend and have it be a whole thing and then realize that there's nothing there between you and the guy.
But what if her friend finds out first from her brother that they kissed?
That's what I'm saying. So have the conversation with the brother and be like, hey, like, you know, are you interested in seeing each other? Or like, let it fizzle out, one of the two, but don't do one before the other, in my opinion. Don't go talk to the friend, have this whole thing, work through it. What if she has a problem with it and then it takes time? And then the brother's like, no, we just fun and I want to take a chill. Now you've created this whole dynamic. Make sure the guy is down and wants to pursue before you then go to the friend. But make sure you go to the friend right away the second you lock it down.
Okay, no, but question. What if what if brother says it was just a kiss?
Right.
You still have to tell the friend, because what I'm saying is, what if then the friend finds out however long later and then feels like you weren't being honest?
Agreed. I think that either way you talk to the friend, but I mean, I don't know your friend, maybe the friend's, it's sounding to me, if I'm being honest with you, it's sounding to me like the friend is a little testy.
Okay.
Because, or else, you know what I mean? Or else you would just be like, hey, by the way, like, I kind of like your brother. We've been chatting. It wouldn't be that big of a deal. But it sounds like there's nerves there, which means the friend might be like tough about this subject. So it's already happened. Mm-hmm. So you might as well see if the guy is interested to pursue, confirm or dissipate that. Then go talk to the friend about either scenario. So if it's pursuing something, talk to them about that. If it's not, be like, I have something to tell you.
Yeah.
And then tell her.
My advice would be, you got to go in order of importance here. And what's most important is your relationship with your friend. So I think whatever you think your friend would appreciate most is probably the order in which you go into this. So from my perspective, because here's the thing, boys come and go. You know what I mean? But the friendship, that's what's going to last. You don't want to lose a friend or have like some drama over this, especially if it's just a kiss. Like maybe this is going to end up becoming something with maybe you and her younger brother end up fully falling in love, and then you're all a happy family.
Forget
and
my
she's
advice.
happy.
I agree with her. Forget my advice. I agree with her.
But at the end of the day, you don't want to lose a friend that you've had for 6 years over a boy, even if he's cute and mature and charming and all these things. So what I would say is, I don't know your friend. So maybe your friend, this is something that's going to be super sensitive for her. So depending on how you feel like she'll react, that's how I would approach it. So, I would be honest with your friend and be like, it's one of those situations where you're like, if your friend is someone who is going to, feel upset about this, from my perspective, you are a free human able to do anything you want to do. So you have every right to have a moment with her brother. But if you know that it's something that she's going to be upset about, then maybe just broach it gently and just be like, oh, I know you might be upset about this, but this is what happened. And it was just this kiss and I didn't know how to tell you at first. And then maybe that ends up leading to a conversation where you then, if she handles it well, you can be like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I think I have a crush on your brother and I don't want to make anything weird, but like I was thinking about talking to him. And then maybe your friend's gonna be all about it and is like, okay, this is what I would suggest. Or maybe you tell your friend and your friend is not happy, and then you can get that, like, your friend's not going to be stoked if you and her brother end up having a thing.
Yeah.
And then is it worth risking the full friendship? So
Agreed.
That's just kind of my perspective, is just level of importance of like, what's the most important thing to you? And I would imagine after having 6 years of a friendship and you're close to the family, you're going on family vacations, like prioritize the friendship first and then go from there. And maybe a beautiful relationship comes of it.
Agreed. I would just tell her, hey, I kissed your brother twice. We kind of have a flirty thing going on. I don't know if anything's going to come of it, but I just wanted you to know that this happened, kind of get your take on it. If you're cool with me talking to him, awesome. If not, I want to talk about that too. And then go from there so that no matter what happens, it's all out in the open.
Yeah.
So ignore everything I said originally. Lee cut that. And then go with what she said. She was right. I was wrong.
Like I said, though,
typical marriage, right?
But that's the thing. Like, I don't know how your friend's wired. I know for myself personally, if I had a brother and my best friend and my brother were hitting it off, I would be so excited.
Right.
Like, I would be so thrilled. Not thrilled if it goes south and then you guys are fighting and there's that drama, but that's something that can be discussed and worked out, and communicated beforehand.
Not everyone's like that though.
But that's what I'm saying. Some people, it might feel uncomfortable, which is totally valid. So yeah, I'm sending you all the love and well wishes, but yeah, I would definitely prioritize what you think is going to be the best move with your friend first.
It's one thing if you guys were like way down the road and you'd been dating for 6 months and now you got to break it. But it's this early on. You're right. Just talk to the friend, get it out in the open, and then you could deal with it.
Yeah. But please keep us updated because I'm
please let
loving
us
this
know,
forbidden
'cause
love.
This is
this is
fire.
this is a DIPSEA story, honestly. All right, one more.
Yes, let's do it.
Let's do one more.
Hi, Mom and Dad. This is Audrey calling. I just kind of want some advice on dynamics with parents and partners and complicated, like, dynamics, I guess. So my boyfriend and I have been together for 4 years, and we are getting engaged very soon.
Congratulations.
But when we moved in together, my conservative Christian parents threw a fit. And they said some pretty hurtful things to both of us. And they're still in my life, and I want them in my life for now. And we're on more good terms than we're not. But my, I guess, reason for calling is just while we're navigating this wedding planning and just this dynamic from shifting from partners to engaged to married and what all that looks like, what's your advice for navigating that complicated parent dynamic when your belief systems are so separate and just all the emotions that brings? Thank you guys for continuing the podcast and allowing yourself to be accessible to us. Love you both and hope you're doing well. And I hope to hear your feedback. Bye.
Audrey.
I love her voice.
I know, Audrey, I love you. First of all, I just want to say a heartfelt, I'm sorry that you're having to deal with this. Evan and I feel you deeply on this one, and I know that it's extremely painful, especially, I feel like I'm gonna get emotional, especially when, you are in a time in your life where you should be being celebrated and supported, that's something that is looming over you. And so I'm so sorry to hear that. And I know that that's really hard. And like you said, you want to continue a relationship with them for right now. My biggest piece of advice to you would be to just remember, I can't speak to your specific upbringing, so I don't know what the dynamic was like. But I think a lot of times in the very conservative households, there can be this feeling of like, we are an inseparable unit and you are one with the family. And if we do not approve, then you are not part of this unit. Here's the bottom line. You are your own person. You've always been your own person. And especially now you're an adult, you're a grown up, you're starting your own family now with your partner. And so you are your own person and your choices are your own. So now I would just say to keep the main priority always between what is making you happy and bringing you joy and what is bringing you and your partner together. It is your relationship, your and your partner's relationship, and this is your happy, beautiful time as you start a life together. And at the end of the day, you love your parents and you want to continue to have a relationship with them, but this is not about making your parents happy. This is about what makes you happy. And it's a time where, unfortunately, you might have to prepare yourself for them having a lot of issues going into this and having a lot of opinions. And I think the most that you can say to them is just to make some very clear boundaries and let them know, I love you. I want you all to be a part of this to this extent. I want to have a relationship with you to this extent. But outside of these boundaries, this is my life and we're going to do what makes us happy. And this is our time and our family unit. And so if you want to be part of this right now and participate in this joyous experience, you can come this far. But beyond that, this is my boundary. That's would be my biggest piece of advice.
I mean, that seems like the most mature way to handle it. I mean, I think on practically, there's a couple elements here. One is, are they paying for the wedding?
Sure.
Right. If they're not, if they are paying it, if they're not, two massive different vibes going on for this situation. So if they're like, we're paying for the wedding, then you're having to deal with them going, well, we're paying for it. We don't want this. We want this. We want this. You know, I think if they are paying for it, I would have a conversation with them being like, I appreciate you paying for this. Are you paying for my wedding, or are we paying for your party? You know what I mean? Like, not in those words exactly, but say something to the effect of like, hey, are we celebrating my marriage here? Or am I just kind of, or are we trying to kind of appease what your desires are? Because if that's the case, like, that's going to be really hard for me to think in terms of my love and my relationship through terms of just your eyes. It's like, this is kind of about my love.
And I think a lot of times with conservative parents, when it comes to dynamics like that, there are strings attached.
Tons.
So then you have to really take into consideration, is it going to be worth it to you? Yeah. Like, I know weddings are so wildly expensive, but if you get to a point, if they are paying, if you get to a point where you're like, I'm not going to be able to enjoy this, then maybe consider a different route.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's like,
I know
what's
is
the
so
point?
Much easier said than
but like,
done,
what is the point of this?
Yeah.
You know, is the point of this is to have the biggest, nicest wedding, or is the point of this just to, commemorate your love? If they're not paying for it, I think that releases you a lot. But I could hear in your voice, it's not like you're trying to get rid of your parents. You're trying to stay connected to your parents. You love your parents. My whole thing, though, is like, when you become an adult and you're making your own decisions, which you clearly are, right? You're living with your boyfriend. You're already making your own decisions. You're already kind of separating yourself from their belief and their. What I think is important is to pursue love with them, pursue a relationship with them. Totally down for all that. Don't live your life as an adult trying to keep that childhood pleasing thing going, which is like, when you're young in a conservative household, you are commanded to please your parents and to do what they say. The second you're an adult, it's no longer the case. So, but it's still left over in our psyche, that when we're 25, we're still going, well, I don't think we should do that. My dad wouldn't like that, or my mom wouldn't like that, or they don't like that kind of stuff. At some point, you got to make the call, or else you're suffering. So who's going to make the concession? I think it has to be them, because they're in your life. So whatever the decisions need to be make them graciously but confidently, and say, these are my own decisions. This is my own life. I'm not doing this to spite you. I'm not doing this to put a middle finger in your face because you disagree with my actions. Just confidently and lovingly make your own decisions. And you'll find yourself being a lot more free and a lot less, because you'll never live up to the thing. You know what I mean? If you're making decisions for them, it'll never be enough. So you have to just make your own decisions and be comfortable with them disagreeing with them, like you clearly already have, which is awesome. Continue that trend. And just make your own decisions, and then you'll be able to kind of freely interact with them and not feel like, is dad happy? Is mom happy? Is it a weird vibe? Are they disagreeing with how we did this and this? It's like, you just got to do your own thing and invite them along, but not do it so they'll come.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm so sorry that you have to be in the situation where, there's just kind of this knowledge that you're going to have in the back of your head that, like, they're going to have a problem with a lot of the things that you're choosing. But again, like what Evan said, I think that it's so important that you savor your life. Life goes by quick, and these moments with your partner are so special. And the last thing that you want is to be filling your mind with all these anxieties and the need to please your parents when you're just trying to, like, live this wonderful, positive life on your own.
Yeah.
I think that it's so important to just focus on you and your life. And if you want them to be there, know that they might kind of go kicking and screaming, and you're just going to allow them to come in and out and try to be unaffected in the way that you're doing what needs to be done for you. Yeah. So
couldn't agree more.
Sending you so much love,
wish you
Audrey.
The best. That's tough.
Yeah. Sending you
It's a lot
love.
of beauty with the tough thing attached.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's a lot to go through.
But I hope you're able to savor this special time with your partner. Sending you so much love. We love the family.
We love you. Thank you.
We love the family. We love you so much.
We love you guys.
And I'm very excited for next week with our third episode. It's going to be a wild one. We also might have some fashion moments, talking about the Grammy fashions.
Okay.
Maybe go over that with some special guests.
I love that.
So can't wait to dive into that next week. We love you all. Have a beautiful week.
Take care of yourself.
We love you so much.
Bye.
Bye.